Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tonight we're here for a special one. It's the Stars and Stripes Indy 500 here in the booth. We got a jam-packed booth here tonight. We got Christian Taylor and Bump and Run Jesse Becker, the dirtiest driver in the game. Christian and Jesse, how you doing here tonight?
Well, I feel like this is going to be a great race here at Indianapolis. I'm looking forward to some side-by-side action. These are open wheel, though, so we ain't going to see no bumping and banging, we hope. What do you think, Jesse?
I don't know if practice is any indication. There's parts and pieces flying everywhere. Hopefully that doesn't happen during the race, but I'm definitely excited to be here and have the longest broadcast of my life so far, so it's going to be fun.
It should be a good one here tonight. Looks like we're starting straight in a qualifying here for the Stars and Stripes Indy 500. Folks, this is a full-length race. That's right, 500 miles around the speedway. As we jump into qualifying action, we got Dylan Grimm out here, and I tell you what, Dylan Grimm can certainly wheel a NASCAR car, but let's see if he can figure out these Indy cars as well. And it looks like he's going to lock it up.
Last year.
Oh, did he? Well, he just had to lock it up here in the qualifying, so we're going to switch it over. See how Bryce Barfield's looking in that number 45 machine. As we hop on board here with Bryce, Jesse, go ahead and take us around the track here with Bryce Barfield. And what do you think that he's thinking as we're right here in the Hutchinson Motorsports cockpit view?
He's trying to build up some speed. He gets onto the front stretch here. You know, I'm assuming this is his first lap. 4 qualifying laps. I'm not sure if it's based on average speed like real life or if these guys are just trying to set a quick time, but you know, he's got to be consistent and just get a good lap in. That's the number one thing, is if you get at least one good lap, you're going to be faster than some other people. So that's the main focus.
Now, Christian, you don't have much experience in these Indy cars. What do you think these drivers are thinking?
Well, coming from somebody, I've actually never did an Indy car race. I owned a car, but I actually just did a few laps around the track. I didn't get in any drafts. I was actually in like a go session. So I think if these more experienced drivers that have the Indy car might be feeling a little more confident, but I know there's a lot of Cup guys only out here, maybe making their first Indy car start. They might be having the thought in the back of their head that you can't beat and bang in these cars. You touch tires, you know, you're done, gone. So.
Yeah, you know,
Absolutely.
most definitely. You know, I don't have a ton of experience in the Indy car. I've done a handful of races, but Jesse, tell us about your experience in these cars.
I've only done a handful of races myself, just a few ovals and a few road courses here and there, but when you come to an oval like here at Indy and you're practicing by yourself, you're like, man, I can almost hold it wide open through these corners, or you can go so fast or whatever. But as soon as that race starts, and you've got however many cars in front of you, 10, 15, 20, and you get in the dirty air, all of a sudden you might have to use your brakes and downshift for that corner, because the car is going to want to push and go right up towards the wall. It relies a lot on aerodynamics, and when you got a bunch of cars in front of you, you can't get the air to the car. So it gets real tight, and if you're not ready for it, you can end your race in turn 1.
Yeah, you know, most definitely, as we watch Kyle McCoy put down a scorcher, a 40.06. The bad news for McCoy, he is in a Pennzoil car, so you think that means some bad luck for him here tonight?
Need to make sure it's legal.
Yeah, definitely. And I do believe, you know, the Pennzoil car in real life had some issues before the race started.
Absolutely. He was sitting there warming his tires up and just dumped the throttle, put it hard into the pit lane wall, delayed the start. I even saw a replay of Kyle Larson calling him a name idiot with a little slur before that, but it was something.
Most definitely. But we're watching Nate Lynch rip it around the speedway, as Nate's first lap was absolute junk. But he's in the Camel number 25 car from Manchester, Iowa. You think Nate Lynch has any shot in this race here tonight?
Back in 2020, so we're going back 5 years now, Nate Lynch was the runner-up. He did not win the Indy 500, but he was the runner-up, so he's shown in the past that he can get up front and fight with the big dogs, but we'll see if he can come away with a win.
I tell you what, good thing Jesse Becker's in the booth here. He's our broadcast statistician, because I'm not going to lie, I did not even open those things up once.
Just call me the data analyst guy. It's fine.
Most definitely, as we look throughout the... Yeah, so we got the rules info, but let's check out through the field here, see what we got going on. Kyle McCoy still top of the board, but how about the Italian, the '08 Alex Buffoli? And believe it or not, Alex can't speak a single word of English. Straight off the boat from Italy, that '08 Alex Buffoli is looking bad fast. Christian, take us around the track here as we're on with the Italian.
We're riding along. He hit that little rumble strip there. I'm not sure how that upsets his car. Heading into turn 2 here. Staying in 6th gear, looks like. Working his way down the backstretch here. Kind of bouncing off the top of that 6th gear. Heading into turn 3. Got to keep it down low. I think that's what you need to have a fast lap there. You got to stay, but don't touch the grass. I saw a car in the real life Indianapolis 500. They touched the grass. He went around. As it comes across the stripe, let's see where his qualifying time is going to land.
Looks like not any better. Now, from what I've seen, I don't think anybody had a faster lap in the later laps. I feel like your first couple laps is really all you got here in qualifying.
It could just be something as simple as the fresher tires have more grip with these cars. I'm used to cold tires not having as much grip, but you've got quite a long warm-up lap to get some heat in the tires, and maybe that fresh rubber is just what gets you the most speed, and once you get a little bit of wear on it, it just kind of drops off.
Yeah, and one thing to watch, as we have Andrew Hess hop up here on our board, sitting in the 12th position, that is bad news for the '08 of Alex Buffoli, because Andrew Hess, he does not like Italians, so Alex Buffoli does not want to see that 54 car in his rearview mirror here tonight. Well, we got the number 11 machine of Tom Ogle, and I tell you what, that's probably the best looking car in the field, folks. And you want to know why? Because you see that Hutchinson Motorsports TV sticker as he gets into the wall here out of Wooster, Ohio.
Yeah, the paint looks good. I don't know why he's trying to scrape our logo off the side of it like that.
Yeah, for how much money we put into that car, he better not scrape that thing off. Because honestly, I'd rather him park the car and fix the body than to run that thing without our logo on it.
So much.
Yeah, we're watching that 11 there of Ogle come out of turn 4. I believe he hit the wall this lap, so this lap's probably not going to count, but hey, you never know. But his first lap looks like he's in the 14th position with a lap time of 40.38. That's 0.3 off the pace with no draft. That's a pretty big difference. And you're going to shut it down. I tell you what, that 11 of Tom Ogle, he looked like junk here tonight. But rolling out on the speedway, we got the 3-car Christian Lostian out of Brooklyn, Iowa. Jesse, what do you think of this number 3 machine of Christian Lostian?
Watching and listening to past broadcasts of the Stars and Stripes, it seems like he's pretty good when it comes to the Cup cars. Don't know how well it's going to translate to the Indy cars. He hasn't had... I don't know if this is his first one or if he just hasn't had a top 3 finish in the past, but he's one of the few names on this list of entries that's blank with no accolades next to it. So probably almost a rookie. I'm not exactly sure, but he's got a lot to prove tonight, and he seems like he's pretty quick, top 10
Most
right
definitely,
now.
And hate to just drop Lostian like a hot potato, but rolling out on the track, your back-to-back points champion for the Stars and Stripes series, Josh Robinson in that 30 car. Jesse, what kind of stats does Josh Robinson have in these Indy cars in the past?
Like you said, he's a 2-time Stars and Stripes champ. That's all I know about him. Nothing Indy specific coming up here in the stats for Josh Robinson.
Yeah, it's possible he doesn't really have much experience in these cars, so we're going to see how that 30-car Robinson does here tonight as he rips it around the speedway to finish up his first lap. But looking at the board, we still got McCoy and Buffoli on tied there with a 40.06. McCoy edging him out here by a couple thousandths. Then Dylan Grimm in the 3rd spot. And I tell you what, sitting in the 4th spot, Zachary Nelson, he's a real ringer. We don't see him much, but when he shows up, he's fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out here that are fast, and there's a lot of guys that can be fast in qualifying. Like I said, it's pretty easy to get an Indy car around this track and qualify, and you hit your line just right, you're going to have a quick time. There is skill to it, obviously, but not as much as a normal race. But when you get around those other cars is when it's going to be a real test for these guys, and we're coming up on that. 20 seconds left here in qualifying.
Yeah, most definitely. We're about to finish up qualifying. Just about every car's hit the track. A handful of them are going to just start in the back, it looks like. But you know what? We're going to do the hard part. Really, with no data, it is time for our picks to win it here tonight. Christian, go ahead and start us off. Who's your pick to win this Indy 500 with the Stars and Stripes?
Well, I know a few people in this league. I just know the one that I always try to root along when I'm watching that broadcast. He's actually carrying our colors on board. That's Tom Ogle. He's taking it home.
All right, so he's going with Tom Ogle in the 11 car. Jesse, who you got winning it?
Well, I'm looking at the previous race info we've got here from the great guys here at Stars and Stripes, and there's one name that jumps out to me. The list of accolades next to it is pretty incredible, but it's missing the number one thing. You have Andrew Medlin in the 12. He was runner-up in 2021, third in 2023, runner-up again last year. He's probably wishing this year is his year and see if he can get the win.
So you're going with Medlin. All right, so you got Medlin. Looks like Christian has Ogle. And folks, my pick to win it, I have no stats to back it up. All I know is the GOAT, Scott Rickard, in the 05 machine is on the track, and that's bad news for everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT, Scott Rickard, is going to win it in the 05 car. But it looks like we're about to grid up. There's our picks to win it. Go ahead, lock them in. Let's go over to the starting grid. Let's get some good music here playing in the background as we get ready to roll with our starting lineup.
Go ahead and run us through this grid, Blake.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your starting lineup for the Hutchinson Motorsports TV Stars and Stripes Indy 500. On the front row in the number 7 machine, Kyle McCoy. 2 is outside the 08 car, Alex Buffoli. Row number 2 on the inside, going to be the number 23 machine, Dylan Grimm. 2 is outside in the 07, Zachary Nelson. Row number 3 on the inside, he's going to win it. It's the GOAT, the 05, Scott Rickard. 2 is outside the 44, Kyle Bowling. Row number 4 on the inside, the number 3 machine, Christian Lostian. 2 is outside the number 4, Aaron Hale. Row number 5 on the inside in the number 45, Bryce Barfield. 2 is outside the 5, Trey Jackson. In row number 6 on the inside, going to be the 46, Jason Gratton. 2 is outside the 94, Jesse. Take it over here for the next few rows.
Oh, you caught me off guard here. Where are we at?
We are in the 13th position. That's row number 7.
All right, Ben Shepard. No, starting out 13th with Andrew Hess to his outside there in the 14th spot. Next row is going to be Jason Fellenbaum there in the number 38 car with Tom Ogle, Christian's pick to win it there in 16th. Eric Essery starting out in the 17th spot with Brian Lynch on his outside 18th. Dylan Glass 19th. And you got Andrew Medlin, my pick to win it, starting out 20th. Christian, you got it from here?
I do. Starting 21st is going to be Greg Hammond. To his outside, Derek Opperman in the number 20 car. The next row back, number 25 of Nate Lynch and the 13 of Alan Wanemaker. Following Austin Wunsch in the number 26 car and Josh Robinson in the 30. Brian Burchett in the 33, and in the 28th position, Josh Gratton in the 8 car. Mark Fish in the 42, starting 29th, and 30th is Mark Schrader in the 10, and rounding out the field in last place is the 9 car of Zach Crichton.
And that's going to round out our starting lineup. Are either of you listening to the radio? What's going on with all these guys down pit road?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not following the situation that well. I'm wondering why we've only got 2 cars with the pace car. I kind of missed what exactly is going on here.
There's talk in the league's general chat. Will the news session be in the same league section? I'm not sure.
Oh, looks like we got some session issues. Yeah, we got some session issues. I bet they have to redo the session or something. So not sure what's going on. I had a feeling, I thought I heard something like that, but looks like we just got a couple cars out there. They're probably going to pull off here. So I don't know. We're going to hang out, stand tight here. We'll be back, take a short break. We're going to get things lined out, and we'll let you know what's going on. We're going to delay the start here. We're on a rain delay just like real life here with the Stars and Stripes Indianapolis 500. We'll be back in a bit. and gentlemen, if you're still tuned in, we're working on the new session coming up. Should be up here any moment. We'll jump straight over for you, and we'll get this going here. Once again, you made 200 laps around Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Stars and Stripes Indy 500. Thanks for staying tuned. While you got some time, be sure to click the like button on the video. Subscribe to the page, Hutchinson Motorsports TV, world's #1 streaming service. All you need, Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Get rid of all them other streaming services, folks, because they're junk. We'll be back here in a bit. and gentlemen, welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looks like we got the session stuff lined out, and it appears we're requalifying here. So right now, Kyle Bowling in the 44, top of the board, 39.98. That's faster than the last session. As we look around the speedway, Tom Ogle in the 11, he's going to take 2 at qualifying. I tell you what, that first one was disastrous. Christian, he was your pick to win it. You think that 11 of Ogle can do better here?
I think he is going to. I think he's got into the wall and he did it again. That is the second time.
No, Christian, I will let you. I'm going to let you. If you want to change your pick, you still can do so.
Nope. I'm going to stick true. Tom Ogle will win this race.
Well, I'm not going to lie. Jesse, don't you think that's a bad pick? Because honestly, I wouldn't put a dime on that slow junk 11 car, Tom Ogle.
You know, the odds are extreme, but I respect Christian. He's sticking to his guns, going with his gut. And his gut might be wrong, but at least he's sticking to it.
I'll tell you whose gut wasn't wrong. That's mine, the GOAT, Scott Rickard, ripping it around the speedway with a 39.89. That 05 car is hooked up. He was my pick to win it before, and he's going to be my pick to win it after qualifying take number 2.
Yeah,
They're
putting
faster.
himself on top of the board there. Really good time.
And then
Faster
your pick.
qualifying doesn't always mean you're going to be faster in the race.
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but let's see how your pick to win it here, Jesse's doing. As he hit Andrew Medlin currently sitting in the 10th spot here in the number 12 car. Medlin's had some good runs in the Stars and Stripes. I believe it was a truck series. I feel like he had a win one week. I don't know. I could be wrong. But that Valvoline car looking good, Jesse. How you feeling?
Good history once again in the Indy cars. Sorry. Take it over.
Looks like Jesse having some audio issues, possibly.
Yeah, so Jesse will come back here as we watch Andrew Medlin rip it around this speedway. Looks like that lap was a little bit better. It's going to move him from 12th to 11th with a 40.21 as he continues to rip it around this speedway. Right now, looks like back-to-back Stars and Stripes points season champion Josh Robinson, who just finished his back-to-back. Joe, and he smokes the wall. So I tell you what, Robinson might be good in Cup cars and the truck series and all that, but he's not looking too good in these open wheel cars.
Apologies for that. My audio issues have 4 legs, but we are all set now.
It looks like we got a little bit of time here. So as we watch the 30 car, Josh Robinson ripping around the speedway, we're going to pull somebody in the booth here. Tom, Blake, Christian, and Jesse up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I gotcha. How are you?
I'm all right. I'll tell you what, I'm doing better than you are. You look lost out there in the Indy car.
I can't qualify this car for some reason. I have a horrible push. I'm not as fast as Hutchinson Motorsports TV tonight.
Most definitely. If it makes you feel any better, Christian here in the booth, he picked you to win it, and I gave him a chance to change his mind.
Bad choice.
He's sticking with you. So he's going to stick with you to win it.
Well,
Yep.
he's a better man than I am. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Tom. I'm rooting for you tonight. Don't let me down. Remember the plan, okay?
All right, you'll be in the long line of people I've disappointed in my life. So get ready.
Now, Tom, before you head out,
You're in that automobile, and you've got that logo of ours on the side of it, and you're trying to scrape it off of the car. So, figure that part out. We want to keep that thing on there.
So I got the new logo, right before the race, last minute, and I had to remove the background because the graphics guy for Hutchinson Motorsports TV is not strong. And so I moved the old one just to see how it was going to fit, and then I forgot to take it off. So there was a series of failures before I even failed at qualifying.
well, hey, we're going to see if things get better for you. And before you head out, let's say you're up in the
It
booth
can't
here.
get worse.
Yeah, well, Tom, let's pretend you're up in the booth here. You got to pick somebody to win this race. Who are you going with?
Alex Buffoli is good here. If he stays away from Andrew Hess, we know Andrew Hess has got a problem with him. Italians. And also, Kyle Bowling was really fast earlier, too. But you know what? It's going to be survival. Andrew Hess is really good here, too. If he can keep his temper under control, he should be good, too. he understands like the weight jackers and everything and how to use them. So watch for Andrew late in the race.
We'll definitely do so because none of us up in the booth here definitely understand any of that stuff. So hopefully that'll work out for Andrew Hicks.
Some of us down here in the cars don't understand that stuff either, which is a bad sign.
I've been right in your boat.
All right. Well, I'll figure it out hopefully as we go.
All right, Tom. Well, we'll let you get up there, start working on that car, because I tell you what, that 11 is looking slow here tonight.
All right, you guys go talk to your graphics guy.
10-4 will do.
Blake set me up for failure there. We'll talk about that.
All right, I'll talk to you guys.
All right, Tom. Best of luck here tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Boy, Tom, not too confident in himself. Christian, are you kind of second-guessing that pick?
Nope, I'm going to stay with it. I'm, draft masters has been on my car for multiple races in my career. I'm going to stick with it. I'm betting he will win this race.
And Tom mentioned Alex Buffoli as somebody to watch. That Italian surely can wheel these Indy cars because he had a good run there in the first qualifying session that didn't count as well.
I'm front row again. I mean, I can't remember what exactly he was in the first session, but back on the front row is a good start. So, before we get too far though, I said we'd talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Why'd you send Tom the wrong logo? You setting me up for failure. He's blaming the graphics guy. The graphics guy made a transparent background logo. What are you doing?
Well, no, me and Christian, we were looking earlier at my files, and I saved a bunch of files with the same name, and it said, do you want to override? I clicked yes, and it didn't override the files. I had 6 of the same files with the same name somehow saved in the folder.
That's incredible.
I didn't know it was even possible. I never seen anything like it. But we got Ben Shepherd out here, the number 69 car. How's Ben looking for you guys? Let's take a closer look.
He's got a great number. I'm really digging it.
I tell you what, Ben, he's looking for some better luck. He's had some bad luck here lately in the Stars and Stripes series races, but he's going to try to get that figured out. But folks, tonight, if you're just tuning in, we got a full-length Stars and Stripes Indy 500. We got a short delay, a little bit of a delay with a session issue, but we got things lined out here and just got about 10 more seconds of qualifying before we jump back in, do the starting grid. I guess we'll do it a second time.
Yeah, why not? We're trying to just imitate real life. They had a rain delay in real life. We have a session delay here in the Stars and Stripes Racing League, but qualifying is over. And so just as Blake said, it's about time to go through this grid.
Yeah, let's wait for them to grid it up. I'm going to find some good tunes. And I tell you what, Jesse, you know this firsthand. Hutchinson Motorsports TV cuts no corners. We got the best tunes in the business.
They're so good. I love almost every song that comes on here. There's some of them that you gotta skip, but almost all of them are non-skips.
Most definitely, but let's find a good one here for you great fans at home. Oh, this is one of the fan favorites. Playing in the background, music is ready. Feel this set in front of a sold-out crowd. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, are you ready for the second time of the night? It's the Stars and Stripes Indy 500 presented by Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Here is your starting lineup. On the front row from the pole position, my pick to win it, it's the GOAT, the 05, Scott Rickard. 2 is outside the 08 machine, straight off the boat from Italy, Alex Buffoli. Row number 2 on the inside, going to be the number 3 machine, Christian Lostjen. 2 is outside the 07, Zachary Nelson. Row number 3 on the inside, going to be the number 44 of Kyle Bowling. 2 is outside the 7, Kyle McCoy. Row number 4 on the inside, and the number 23 car. He's one to watch, and no matter any car he drives, it's Dylan Grimm. 2 is outside. I believe he's making his Stars and Stripes debut. It's the 45, Bryce Nelson. Row number 5 on the inside, the number 4, Aaron Hale. 2 is outside the 38, Jason Fellenbaum. Row number 6 on the inside, the 37, Eric Essery. 2 is outside the Italianator himself. It's the 54, Andrew Hess. Jesse, go ahead and take us through the field here as we roll into the 13th starting position.
Picking up on row number 7, an improvement from the previous qualifying Tom Ogle on the inside. 2 is outside the number 5 there, Trey Jackson. Row number 8 is going to have my pick to win it on the inside, Andrew Medlin. 2 is outside, Jason Gratton in the 46. Row number 9, Dylan Glass in the 16 to the inside, Joshua Altus in the 94 to the outside. Brian Lynch starts off the next row on the inside with Derek Offerman to his outside. And then you've got Greg Hammond on the inside with Nate Lynch to the outside, and I'll let Christian finish it off.
In the 23rd starting position, Alan Wanamaker the third. In the 13th car, Josh Robinson on his outside. In the 30, we got Ben Shepard in the 69 car, side by side with Brian Burkett in the 33. In the 27th, we got Josh Gratton in the number 8. Also to his outside, the 26 of Achin Wush. In the 29th starting spot, the 42 of Mark Fish. Outside of him, Mark Schrader in the number 10 car. And starting out your Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last is Zach Kreitz in the number 9 car again.
Boy, 31 cars signed in tonight. It should be a good one here. This is just like real life, just about. I believe real life, how many cars do they start, Jesse?
I believe it's 33. I could be completely wrong.
That sounds somewhere around there, so we're definitely close, but it looks like the field is set. I think we're going to be going green this time. Let's keep an eye on that pace car.
Hopefully
One thing
so.
about real life was they had a car, one of the favorites to win at Junket, on the pace lap. That's not happening right now. So is these people better than the Indianapolis 500 professionals?
It definitely appears that way, but the field's set. Let's see if that pace car darts in. Yes, sir. We are ready to roll. Your front row, the GOAT, Scott Rickard on the inside. The Italian, Alex Buffoli on the outside. Green flag in the air at Indianapolis. The Indianapolis 500 is underway, heading into turn 1.
Yeah, they're staying side by side here for the lead almost. Looks like Rickard's going to get it covered up, but we still got to battle for second as they go into turn 2 side by side.
As we look through the field, Christian, what do you think of these battles in the back? These guys are duking it out.
I'm seeing cars all over the place, left and right, fanning out. No contact just yet. We hope it stays clean for the most part. Tom Ogle looks like he is riding in the 13th position currently, so he's lost 2 positions from the start.
Well, you know what time it is, though, Christian. The most important battle on the speedway. This man is no stranger to the Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last. Right now, it's Mark Schrader holding up the rear of the field. Let's hop on board. Jesse, take us around.
Yeah, he is getting all the dirty air he possibly can back here way in the back, checking up for the corner. He manages to stay in 6th gear. I bet if you hop on board with some of the people farther up in the field, they're probably downshifting for these corners. That could be what's holding him up, but we'll see if he's able to overcome it.
Let's take a look. Hop up to our race leader here, Scott Rickard, the GOAT. Jesse, what are you noticing different?
I see a 5 there on the display instead of a 6. He's downshifting for the corners and then getting back up into that 6th gear on the straightaways. I tell you what, while you've been watching the battle for last, this lead has swapped a couple of times. Rickard will get ahead, and then the next straightaway, Buffoli will pass him right back, and they just keep swapping positions.
Yeah, it seems that way. Christian, we know the draft here is really important. If you're out front, let's pretend you're actually good at the Indy car. If you're the race leader, are you wanting that race lead as often as you can get, or are you just going to be kind of riding?
Well, one thing I know about the Indy draft, and I've learned this just from watching races, it's not just stay behind the car and follow through. A good drafting, you got to get a partner, and you actually pass, you just keep passing each other. And that's how you actually can work your way from the pack.
He definitely seems that way, and you know what time it is, folks. It's time to jump up as there's a battle for the race lead. Rickard's going to give it up to Alex Buffoli. We're going to jump up to our eyes in the sky, the Hutchinson Motorsports blimp. Wow, Jesse, is that not the most beautiful view you've ever seen in your life?
I do got to ask, do we have that thing paid off yet?
No, not yet. You know, the payments are quite large, so it's still on the payment plan, but we still got it.
You know, 20% interest. We'll eventually get it paid off, but it still brings us the best camera views in the business. I mean, you can see a whole, like, 1/20 of the track when you're up there in the blimp cam.
As we go to the Hutchinson Motorsports gyro cam with Alan Wanamaker here in the 13 car as he's cruising in the 20th position.
I like seeing a North Carolina native out there. Winston-Salem. I mean, it's kind of the other side of the state from me and Christian, but it's always nice to see a fellow North Carolinian out there repping.
Yeah, you know, it's not a great race for him, but it could be much worse. You know, he's in the 20th spot right now, but it's been clean and green this whole race. How about it as we roll into lap number 6 in the Indianapolis 500?
We did actually have one incident. The 16 car, that is the 16 of, let me get his name here, Dalen
Yep.
Glass. He actually got into the wall earlier. So he is
Let's take a look and see what
out
happened.
of the draft.
Let's get a little better view here if we can find it. Oh, it's not really cooperating. I don't think it's. Oh, here it is.
It looks like he lost a piece of his front wing there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and he's having some connection issues, it appears. So, yeah, no, we're not. I don't know. There's no telling what happened, folks. We're going to go back live, see what's going on as Scott Rickard, the GOAT, taking back the race lead.
I feel like these guys up front are trying to run away.
Yep, that's what they're doing. They're working together, using that draft. And I think they can make a good team if they can keep it going. But the third and fourth place cars, it looks like they're catching fast.
Yeah, you know, they're really not pulling away too much, but somebody once told me, I don't know how true this is, but they said slingshotting back and forth is actually faster than just riding around. You know, in the cup cars, when you're in a draft, you're better off just pushing the guy in front of you. Rumor has it, you know, you can't push here in the Indy car, so you're better off just slingshotting over and over.
Yeah, if you could bump draft, that would be the best option, but as you can see, there is no bumpers to bump draft with, so the swapping back and forth is essentially the closest you can get to it, of kind of two-car tandeming and trying to get away from people.
Seems so, but as we look through the field, looks like your Hutchinson Motorsports TV hard charger right now. Derek Offerman all the way up to the 14th position after starting in 20th. Christian, what are you seeing out of that 20 car of Derek Offerman?
I'm seeing hard charging. One thing we all know is tire saving is going to be important in the longer runs. This is a long race, so you can charge hard, but is it going to last? That's the question.
You know, one thing I learned, you know, this year I was lucky enough, I did get to go to the Indy 500 in real life, and these fuel runs aren't very long. I believe they were between 20 to 25 laps or so. So I don't know how important tire wear is going to be, just because you're going to have to pit so much to get the fuel. But we're going to jump back out front. Jesse, what are you seeing between these two of Buffoli and Rickard?
Yeah, the swapping has kind of seemed to have stopped. I think what we're seeing from a lot of these guys up here in the front of the field is they're just doing the smart thing. They know it's a 200-lap race. We're only on lap 9. They're just taking it easy, saving fuel, saving tires, trying to, you know, work out the strategy for the last 100 laps and just kind of cruising here at the start, which is really the smart move. You want to be in it to win it at the end. You got to just kind of ride this first little bit of the race out.
Yeah, you know, I can definitely see the beliefs in that. You know, it's tough to give up the lead, but you know what? The issue might be, you know, Scott Rickard, he was calling me all week, asking all these setup questions. You know, and I don't mind helping the GOAT out, but it looks like that Hutchinson Motorsports TV setup on the 05 of Scott Rickard has got him rolling, and he is the car to beat here early on.
Things bad fast.
Christian, what are you seeing through the field?
I'm just watching some mid-pack battles. Nothing really popping out. We got the field is divided into 3 major packs. Pack number 1 being led by the 05, pack number 2 by the 45, and it looks like pack number 3. I'm struggling to see that car's number, but 3 different packs, 3 different strategies. I'd assume who's saving the most fuel, who's saving the most tires. It's not very apparent right now, but it will be in the long run.
You know, it seems Greg Hammond's leading that 3rd pack in the 19th position in the number 66 car, from what I see.
Okay.
But let's jump to the rear. Jesse, what are you seeing in this battle for last? Looks like Mark Schrader still holding on strong to the Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last.
He's definitely holding on strong to that battle for last. Still not downshifting in the corner. Maybe we get in his ear and let him know that he's got to downshift through those corners if he wants to carry the most speed, but he's getting ready to lose those guys in front of him. He might have already lost the draft, but these Indy cars are weird. He might still be feeling it, but he's pretty far back now at this point.
You know, did you either of you know the difference here? Let's say you lose the draft. How much slower are you going to be?
Not an incredible difference. Not nearly as much of a difference. Example, you know, I come from the NASCAR side of things. If you lose the draft on you know, in the NASCAR, you're a lot slower, especially Daytona, Talladega, those kind of things. There is a big speed difference with the Indy cars, but it's not as dramatic from what I can remember.
Most definitely, but looking through the field, let's see your hard charger. It has switched here. It looks like Zach Kreitz. He started all the way back in 31st position. Folks, for you math wizards at home, that's dead last. He is up to 23rd. He's gained 8 spots through the field.
Good run for him so far. He's making his way up. Denver native here. Motorsports TV.
As he pulls to the inside, make another pass here. That looks to be getting around another car, so he has passed 9 now to the field.
It'll be interesting to keep an eye on him later and see if he starts slipping back, people start getting back by him.
But let's look through the field, see how our picks to win it are doing. You know, Christian picked Tom Ogle in that 11 car. He started in 13th. Well, guess where he's at, folks? He's still in the 13th position. Christian, how you feeling about your pick?
I'm gonna stick true. He's, you know, taking it easy. He's saving those tires. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not changing. You're giving me multiple options. I am sticking to it. Tom Ogle will win this race.
And then Jesse, your pick to win it. Let's see how he's doing. Andrew Medlin, he's been struggling. He started in 15th. He's dropped a few spots back to the 18th position.
He might be falling back, but the accolades show that he has experience in these Indy cars. I mean, finishing in the top three of the last 5 years. So I'm going to have faith in the man. He knows what he's doing. He's got a strategy up his sleeve. We just might not see it yet.
And then meanwhile, the battle for the race lead as Scott Rickard gave it up there to Buffoli, but he had a big run there and he checked up, almost junked his car. You definitely don't want to wreck your car right now if you're Scott Rickard, because that thing is probably the car to beat here, and we are early on, heading into lap 16 shortly.
Yeah, if you time that run too late, you might not have enough time to make the pass, and you've got to know when to back out of it. Looks like Rickard made the right choice there, as you were saying, but if he can set the run up right out of the straightaway, that's when you know you've got enough time to get by the car you're trying to get by.
Seems that way. You know, looking through the field, the fastest lap of the session is actually the 44 car, Kyle Bowling. I believe Tom told us that the 44 here at Bowling was going to be fast, and he's sitting in the 4th spot, has the fastest lap of the night. Looking through the field, let's see how Brian Lynch is doing in the 24 car. Christian, what are you seeing out of that 24 machine of Brian Lynch?
I'm gonna go over to him. I'm seeing he's running some consistent laps. I see. I'm hoping, like we talked about before, the long run setup. You got to set himself up for later in the race. So stay in mid-pack. We're gonna see what he can do.
You know, one thing I'll give Brian Lynch, you know, a lot of people worried about the news earlier in the year about Hooters shutting a bunch of restaurants down. He has stuck with them. He's had Hooters on his car for years, and nothing's changing as they continue to sponsor the 24 of Brian Lynch.
I like to see sponsors staying loyal to the soil these days. It seems like these days, you know, sponsors are switching every race. It's good to see some consistency out there as this league continues to swap back and forth between Rickard and Buffoli.
Yeah, Rickard taking over the lead. Looks like somebody leaving pit lane or something there. Might be Mark Schrader. No, never mind. No, Mark Schrader's still out there. Not sure. Looks like Josh Gratinoff pays. Oh, he's got major damage. The left front is junk on the 8 of Josh Gratton.
Tire doing a little jig there as he's going into pit lane.
And the front nose is gone too. He must have smoked the wall. Not sure what happened there.
Very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, that's bad news early on in this race. Now, Christian, you are familiar here with the rules of this race. I believe they don't have any fast repairs, right?
I do believe I saw where they have one. I will be right back to the broadcast to confirm that, Blake.
Well, that's good to know. We're going to find out really quick here, because if Josh Gratton's car is not junk when he leaves the pits, he used fast repair. So looking here.
Yeah, that would be a key sign.
Yeah, let's zoom in a bit. Yep, there it is.
I can tell you, there's one fast repair, so if he's used it, he's lost it. That was the last one
sir.
he's going to get.
That's a fresh-looking 8 car. He's going to be down a lap here leaving pit road.
Used up his get-out-of-jail-free card. Not going to have another one for the rest of this race. He's got to focus on keeping that car clean.
2 laps down. As Scott Rickard takes back his race lead, still out front, has a 1/4 second of a lead. Looks like 3rd place is about a second behind our 2nd place car of Alex Buffoli.
Yeah, you don't want to focus too much on the gap between 1st and 2nd because they're swapping back and forth. You see that gap back to 3rd place is starting to grow. if they can break away from Nelson, he's kind of in no man's land. He's going to start falling back to 4th place bowling.
And checking out the field, our hard charger, Zach Kreitz, still sitting in the 22nd spot. He's passed 9 cars since the start of this race. Him and Derek Offerman are really our only big movers. Offerman's passed 6 cars, going from 20th to 14th.
A lot of guys biding their time right now. Lap 20 of 200, still got a long way to go. Don't want to make too many moves too early.
Most definitely. And, you know, if you fans are tuned in here, you might notice we got some new good-looking graphics here on the screen. Folks, give a round of applause. Bump and run. Jesse Baker put some hard work in. I got him working overtime. He's got a good-looking ticker and tower for us here, Jesse.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like a expert computer hacker putting together these graphics with a lot of code and a lot of learning. I feel almost like a professional now, but you know, I think it looks pretty good. A lot different than what we're used to. A good change.
Most definitely. And then we got some other news. Christian, are you ready to let these guys know about our Discord channel?
I am. It's a new community, Hutchinson Motorsports TV official Discord. That's something that's still in the works now. We'll be sending some invites out here soon. It's going to be your place, though. Your fans, your family, all in one. The drivers will have places to hang out, communicate, and we're going to have some fun in there. We got some events on the plan. We can't talk about that. And the yellow flag is out on the track. Let's see what happens.
Let's try to find what happened. I'm not seeing anything. Let's see. We know the yellow's out. I don't. Marked fish crash. Let's see if we can find some. Let's see what happened here. We got the 42 car marked fish. That's after the yellow. Oh my! After the yellow, he gets hit by the 30 of Robinson. That's unfortunate.
Oh no! Oh, he got a car stopped in the track ahead of it.
Yeah,
that was. Oh my goodness!
That was what the yellow was for right there. So, not sure who that was who was parked there on the track. If anybody's able to find that,
figure out who was in that Haas machine, I'll look into it here.
Yeah, I'm digging around. We got time, folks. We're under caution. Jason Gratton involved. That might have been Jason Gratton.
It certainly was.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Jason Gratton, he junked his car already, didn't he? No, that was Josh Gratton. So here we go. So here's what happened. We got Jason Gratton right there in the 46. Comes out of the corner, just smokes the wall, annihilates the inside. Oh my, folks. Then he disappears. That's how junk.
Turned an Indy car into a Beyblade. That was wild.
Look at that checkup. You know, that's unfortunate. You know, I mean, these cars, they stop so fast. If you're Robinson in the 30, you just got nowhere to go there. There's really nothing he could do.
I wonder if it was more of a jump scare because his car had just completely gone and then reappeared on the perspective we had. So it might have been a jump scare for those other drivers with him net coding in and out.
I'll tell you what, though, a lot of these guys are happy to see that caution because we were getting pretty close there on fuel. So these guys are going to have to start green flag stops here probably in the next handful of laps. But we're going to get the caution.
I imagine
most
we're
of them
going
are
to see
coming.
a lot of guys pit here.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're coming this time, and they're coming hard down pit road.
One information I could share is there is no tire limit tonight. So anytime we have a caution, I would be shocked if anyone stays out because they're going to know that everyone else that pitted will have those fresh tires.
We're going to see this race off of pit road if it changes. We know Rickard heading in as your leader, then Buffoli, Nelson, Bowling, Lostian as your top five.
Yeah, there's not as much strategy calls here in IndyCar on pit road. It really comes down to the end of the race. If you can save more fuel than somebody, that can make your stop a little bit quicker. But they change all the tires at once. There's no 2-tire stops here in IndyCar. So it's really about maximizing how fast you are in pit road.
Bad news there. The 05 of Rickard with a terrible, abysmal pit stop. He's going to lose 2 spots, and that's going to give Alex Buffoli, the Italian off the boat, the new race lead.
Zachary Nelson also getting by into second. Rickard back to third there off of pit road.
And no big movers there. Zach Kreitz gained a couple more spots. He's up to 20th. Has passed 11 cars since starting dead last here tonight.
One thing I know, too, we're going to restart single file. We're not going to double up like we're used to. It will be a single file restart on the green flag.
You know, one thing I wish they would have incorporated, the start of this race, I wish it would have been 3 wide like real life.
That would have been beautiful.
Yeah, that would have been incredible. Unfortunately, we didn't get that lucky. Maybe they'll do it for the final restart. Who knows? Maybe we can talk to them.
It's possible. And
we're also missing the Blackhawks.
That's the next thing I was going to say. I've been working on making calls all week long, trying to get the Blackhawks down. But unfortunately, we were unable to get it done.
No flyover, huh?
But since Christian got interrupted, you know, he mentioned we got our new Discord channel. It's going to be a great community. We're going to send out some invites, and then maybe they can share it with their friends. But going to be a great thing, great for different communities to communicate, talk to each other, see what's going on our Hutchinson Motorsports TV platform right now. We got multiple leagues, and then as you can see tonight, we got the Indy 500 event.
It's gonna be a fun place. Let me just say, I'm doing a lot of work on it.
Yeah, you know, Christian's put a lot of work in. He's organized the whole Discord, and he's still working on it as we go. And we got some plans in the future as well. We're gonna have some more events, call them Dash for Cashes, all kinds of stuff coming down the road. But we're still lining out some stuff.
Yeah, lots of great ideas coming together, and it's going to be a really good place to be if you're a league owner, if you're a driver, if you're a fan of any of the drivers that end up here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV, potential sponsors even, and you can come hang out in the Discord. We've got a space for you.
Absolutely. But the field there, we're getting bunched up, ready to roll. We're on lap number 25 out of 200 as we line up. You know, this next time around, how about we get bumping around Jesse Becker to take us to the green flag once we get ready to roll?
I can absolutely do that. That sounds like a blast. As Foley looks like he is ready to be in this race lead, taking us to the green flag. Nelson behind. It's going to be interesting to see somebody else starting second.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Rickard can find a way around Nelson after he gave up 2 spots on pit road, but the pace car's about to head in, and Jesse's going to take a screen.
Absolutely. Pace car is off. Buffoli can go anytime. He's still waiting. Still waiting. Might be waiting for the restart zone. Green flag is out. Buffoli stomps the gas. Gets a good jump there on Nelson behind. No breaking the draft or any of those shenanigans yet. Everybody's single file out, and we're back green.
Heading through turns 1 and 2. Christian, what are you seeing up front?
I'm seeing the side-by-side action for the lead right now. It's gonna go 3 wide. We got a 3 wide battle for the lead. Who's gonna come out? Scott Rickard on the low side.
What an incredible move. The GOAT, Scott Rickard. We questioned if he was going to struggle with the dirty air. He says, you know what? I'm just going to take back the race lead before we even finish a lap. The GOAT, Scott Rickard, from 3rd to 1st in 1 move.
We almost had it again there on the front stretch. Foley going to take the lead back over. And we've got the same 2 out front once again, Rickard and Buffoli. It looks like Nelson having some trouble there up high.
And Nelson riding the wall up top. Hopefully he can get that thing rolling. I hope he doesn't have damage. Let's try to zoom in and see if we can tell.
He is getting railroaded like a train right now.
He must have some damage here. That is unfortunate. But I tell you what, Nelson, he had top 3 speed the entire race. He's going to probably have to come down pit road. Let's see if he can get that thing rolling.
Yeah, we didn't get a really good shot at it. He's coming down pit lane now, so there must be some damage I can't quite visually see. But you got to wonder if he just got tight coming out of that corner and scraped the wall, and that could have been all it wrote there for Nelson.
Hey, you know, the good news is since he was up front, he's going to be able to pit and stay on the lead lap. But he's going to need a caution because it's really not going to help him in the fuel game because they've only ran a couple laps. So he's really at a big disadvantage, but he's not out of it yet.
Buffoli and Rickard back to the swapping game here. Buffoli taking the lead back over here, and he's going to lead lap 29. We'll see if Rickard makes another run here to his inside.
Look at that run, Christian. What are you seeing out of that 05 car, Rickard?
I'm just seeing, I have a feeling these 2 gentlemen here have a plan to work together. I would like to maybe get one of them up here in the booth and ask them that later on in this race, but they're working together too well to just be coincidence as they're walking away from that 44 car bowling.
And looking through the field, looks like your pick to win it, Tom Ogle. He's really, he's not doing bad, but he's going nowhere. He started 13th. He's been 13th the entire race long.
I'm not giving up hope yet, but, I am starting to count my pennies here. I see on my DraftKings bet there is a cash out option. I ain't getting it yet, but the dollars are dropping every lap.
Jesse, you're not doing much better because you're a spot behind him, sitting in the 14th spot with Andrew Medlin.
Well, all I can say about Andrew Medlin, last time we checked on him, he was back in 18th. So to find him up in the 14th spot, he's a little bit better. But, you know, speaking of Tom Ogle, they say consistency is key, and I don't think you can be much more consistent than being in the exact same position you started the race in. We're 30 laps in now.
And, you know, as we check through the field, I'm trying to find out who's winning this Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last. I'm not going to include Ben Shepherd. Looks like he's had some issues, so he's filling over the back. So right now, the battle for last going to the 16 car of Dylan Glass. Although, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Dylan Glass have some issues earlier as well?
As
we had a
far
few
as
cars.
I'm aware, Dylan Glass is still on the lead lap. Ben Shepherd falling off the pace. Dylan Glass would be your Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last driver right now.
Well done, Dylan. Hopefully he can keep it up and bring home the second most coveted trophy on the track here tonight, other than your race winner.
We're looking at Mark Schrader on the screen there. It just actually turned away. But I don't know if we can decide who his favorite driver is in real life, but there are some hints.
Let's take a look here once again. We'll zoom in. Christian, walk us through what you're seeing on this car.
I am seeing a exact copy of Kyle Larson's Indy 500 attempt. So I think I know who he's a fan of. I'm not sure, but that's some good news for him. We all know how that Indy 500.
I'll tell you
I'm
what.
telling you, I wouldn't be running that.
I'll tell you what. Well, I was going to say if his favorite driver is Kyle Larson, he's definitely driving like Kyle Larson did this year at the Indy 500, running in the back.
Oh, no.
The only thing we're waiting
that's
for.
gonna go over well with the fan.
Yeah, and the only thing we're waiting for is that 10 car to wreck it. But let's jump back out front as the GOAT, Scott Ricker, continues to lead this race as Alex Buffoli right there with him on the back bump. Well, I guess we should say wing.
No bumpers here in IndyCar.
We've covered this, Blake. If you bump the back of these cars, you're getting tired, and you are going for a ride.
But it's been a quiet race so far. Dylan Grimm, he's cruising in the 6th spot. I tell you what, you know, calling this Stars and Stripes League every week, Dylan Grimm every single week is a threat to win any race. If it's got 4 wheels on it, Dylan Grimm's going to be in the conversation.
He's found his way into the top 5. He's looking good. But the thing that's really jumping out to me here is, once again, the power of working together from the top 2, Rickard and Buffoli. They're once again walking away from that 3rd place car. It's not the same one as before, but Kyle Bowling in that 3rd place can't catch up to these leaders.
You know, Bowling's got a good car here tonight. I believe Tom let us know he was one to watch, and it looks like he's doing it here, sitting in the 3rd spot. Let's hop on board. Christian, take us around.
Looks like we're going through, is this turn 2 here? I believe it is. So that's turn 4. He's going down the front stretch here. It's the 6th gear. I didn't notice if he downshifted there. He's trying to get the draft of the car in front of him. We're going to see what he does in this turn where he moved on.
And watching him rip it around the speedway. Still in the 3rd position. He doesn't have any help with him, but let's see if he can keep those 2 in front of him in his windshield view.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the draft anymore. It might be a little bit too far.
Now, Jesse, what are you seeing out of this Camel Cigarettes 25 car of Nate Lynch as he rolls around in the 19th position? Oh, we got one that just jumped in the pits, by the way. Real quick, let's see what happened with Ben Shepherd.
Not going to be able to see it. We might have too many cars out here too far away from each other.
It ain't working, but we'll go back here. Jesse, what were you saying there about that 25 car Nate Lynch?
Well, it seems like the 25 car and Camel Cigarettes as a sponsor seems to be pretty common out there. I believe our Blake Hutchinson here in the booth is a Camel sponsored driver and drives the 25 car as well. I didn't know you and Nate Lynch are on the same team, but that's a good looking car.
Yeah, you know, me and Nate, we go way back. We got the same sponsor. We got the same number. And Nate, I will say you're driving a good luck charm of a number and a sponsor, because last time I drove a Camel Cigarettes 25 car, I won the 5150 Super Speedway Series Championship.
And all the kids in the crowd got prizes they'll never forget.
Absolutely, but looking to the field, Zach Kreitz, he is up to the 17th position, folks. He started, if you remember, dead last, 31st. He's past 14, up to 17.
Could be going for the last to first challenge here.
Quite possibly, but Christian, what are you seeing out of the 45 car of Bryce Barfield?
I'm seeing some. He's staying right there in 6th place this whole run. I haven't really seen him move much, but I will say, Peyton in the chat, his own brother, says Bryce is rubbish. Lucky for him, he's not out there to junk him, and I'll add on to that. He's not out here to junk him, just like he did last night. We watched it live here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Peyton just turned right and slammed him down like an RKO out of nowhere.
It was brutal. You know, we were in a 60-lap ARCA race at Michigan. Bryce Barfield was in cruise control leading the race. Out of nowhere, his little brother, Peyton Barfield, jumps in the battle and just flat dumps him, takes him out of the race. And then Peyton ended up, where'd Peyton finish? I believe he finished in the top 5, didn't he?
I believe he did, but I also heard that the chat between them, Peyton was trying to talk to him, and Bryce did not respond. So we got some very family drama brewing. We're going to see how that plays out in the Superstar ARCA East Series.
Yeah, most definitely. As Christian mentioned, our Superstar ARCA East Series, we're going to run. Oh, yes, yellow flag. Look out. Alex Buffoli crashed it. Oh, that's unfortunate. He was one of the favorites to win it as he was in 2nd. We might have been in 1st at the time. He was running top 2 and just jumped it. Let's see what
I just happened to be watching him, and he just got loose coming out of the corner. The back end just stepped out, and there was nowhere for him to go but the inside wall, and he hit it hard.
Yeah, you notice there in the corner, he just didn't get down enough. It's like he was a little tight there. Just couldn't get the car down where he's been running. Heading into turn 1 right here, you see where he goes down. He doesn't really go down very far. Like you see Rickard in front went down another car length, and Buffoli just taps the wall enough and sends him straight in. Goes for a ride. And ladies and gentlemen, you can say it with me if you've been here before. That car is junk. Alex Buffoli needing a fast repair.
That also alters this race. Him and Scott Rickard have been working so well together. Scott Rickard, I believe they might even be a team, but I don't know. He's lost his drafting partner now.
And you know, bad news, more bad news for Buffoli. He had to tow it to pit road, so it's not going to be a quick roll in there, do a fast repair, get rolling. He's going to be down 1 or 2 laps at least.
I can say it's not often you're going to be able to drive it back to pit lane when you hit the inside wall at about 190 miles an hour. So not really surprised to see him having to get it towed back here, but at least he's going to be able to get it back out on the track.
Yeah, it's quite possible, but you know what? I just hopped into the in-car helmet view of Scott Rickard, and he was smiling ear to ear, grinning like a madman, because he knows his biggest competition just junked it, and he's basically out of this race.
Could be his biggest competition or his best benefit. Kyle Bowling, if he gets a good pit stop here, he could be looking to get towards the front, maybe start this thing off when it drops back green. Rickard had struggles that last pit stop. We'll see if he's able to capitalize on a good pit stop here.
Yeah, you mentioned that Rickard had an abysmal pit stop, dropped all the way back to 3rd, but he made a hellacious move, went 3rd to 1st on the backstretch as soon as we went green.
Yeah, he's definitely got the guts. We'll see if he can hold up the rest of it.
These are fast pit stops, but one thing that will slow you down if you miss that pit box. I know someone in this booth is prone to doing that. I'm not going to say any names, but I'm looking to my left side.
I have no clue who you're talking about.
You don't?
I'll tell you what, you know, Jesse, he is fast on the track, but I swear to God, I watch him go down pit lane. It seems like every other time he overshoots that pit box.
It's a bad habit. Hard to kick.
He's killed about 4 Jackmen, I'll be honest.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start calling you. Who was the guy that smoked his pit crew this year?
I think it was Schwartzman.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, they are pole sitter Schwartzman, rookie in the series, and he just flat out he had to break his leg because that leg jumped in, just absolutely smoked the Jackman.
Well,
but it looks
I can
like
tell you who didn't do that, Rickard.
Yeah, great pit stop. He's got some lap cars in front of him. Probably going to see him come down pit lane because that was about a 20-lap green flag run. So all these guys are going to need fuel. Now,
yeah,
Jesse,
let's
say, Jesse, pretend you're a lap down and you had to stay out there a lap. Would you risk it? Would you take the wave around and hope for another caution before you got to pit again? Or would you just go in and fill up and stay the lap down?
I think I would take the wave around because the most common used phrase in all of motorsports, other than start your engines, might be cautions breed cautions. And, you know, knowing the rest of the field stacked back up, people are trying to make moves. You could get another yellow right after you get that wave around, and then your problems are solved. You can come down pit road and fuel up. The worst thing that can happen is you have to pit under green, which other people might have to do anyways.
I definitely agree with that call, because if you pit under green, you actually stay on the lead lap. So let's say 15 laps go by, we stay green, these guys got to come down pit road. Well, they're still going to be on the lead lap. They'll be at the tail end of it. Well, I don't know. It's actually going to be close. They're going to be in the back of the field. So, yeah, they probably will go a lap down. But anyways, if they have to drop to the back here, they're going to be a lap down regardless. So definitely worth the risk, because they might get a caution and be able to stay on that lead lap.
Yeah, if you pit every time, all you're going to do is stay a lap down. You might as well try to get back on the lead lap, you know?
Most definitely. But, Christian, what are you seeing through the field right now? Looks like Zach Christ gave up a few positions, dropped back to the 18th spot. He's still your hard charger, though.
I'm seeing on my screen that we also got the 07 of Zachary Nelson. I'm not sure if he's one of the waiver rail cars or not, but he's down 9 positions.
19.
19.
Yep. If you remember right, Zachary Nelson started 4th. He is sitting right back in the 23rd position. He's lost 19 spots. But, hey, that's not as bad as Alex Buffoli, that 08 car. Started in 2nd. He's in 29th. But it looks like he's finally out there rolling. Jesse, how many laps we got him down? Still just 1?
Alex Buffoli, only 1 lap down, so was able to get that car towed and get it fixed. So the pace car drifts his way off. We're going back green.
All right, well, we'll get ready to roll. Christian, take us green.
And the green flag's already out. We're going down the front stretch here. We got the car out.
They're jumping it in the back.
We got a big wreck.
And it's probably all the guys that got the wave around.
Oh, my gosh.
Need that. They wanted a quick caution. They didn't want to be the caution.
Well, bad news is the caution's not out, because we're still green and rolling here at Indianapolis.
Wow.
And we're wrecking again. We're wrecking
eating
again.
hot
There's a
dogs
car
or
over.
something.
There's a car over. Tom Ogle looks like he's
Jesus.
landed. Oh, that ain't Tom Ogle. Okay.
Who is it?
Oh, no.
Who's on there,
Oh
Lynn?
my
Trying
God.
to find. Here it is. Oh, it's the 24
Brian
of Brian Lynch. Oh, my. Let's see what happened. This is after the first wreck. We got no caution, so we stay green. But let's take a look here. Let's hop over to the Hutchinson Motorsports chopper cam. Most beautiful chopper
Man,
cam in the
I
business.
sure hope Brian's okay.
Well, you never know, but here, let's see what happened. Nowhere to go. They're just tangled up in front of him. Smokes the car, ramps him in the air, goes for a ride, straight on his lid. Oh, my. That's a bad feeling.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. What a wreck.
His car kind of overreacted when it landed there, but
Wow.
Yeah, it looked like instead of pavement, he fell back down on a trampoline.
Yeah, somebody take a clip of that for us, because that was a good one. Brian Lynch junking it, going for a ride. And ladies and gentlemen, let's see if Alex Buffoli might get the wave around. I think he will.
That puts him right back in this race, honestly. He's showing the speed. He just needs to be on the right lap.
I assume he stayed out of that one. Don't see any damage, so I think Alex Buffoli going to get back to the lead lap. It's going to be tough to get through the field because he's sitting in the 27th spot, but he's still got plenty of time, though. We're only on lap 44 out of 200 here tonight. But, folks, let's take our first break. Let's go Hutchinson Motorsports TV, side by side, the best side by side in the business. We'll be back here in a jiffy. Hutchinson Motorsports TV, Stars and Stripes, Indianapolis 500. And welcome back to the Stars and Stripes Indy 500 presented by Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Folks, we got the field gridded up. I think we're dropping the hammer, going green as we head into lap number 47 out of our 200 here tonight. Been a good one so far. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. But we got a new car up front. Christian Lawson going to throw his hat in the ring, see if he can take that race lead from the GOAT, Scott Rickard. I thought we were going green, but maybe not yet. Hang on. Let's see if that pace car helps. There it goes. Pace car is in. Field is set. There we go. Scott Rickard can go at any time as we're ready to roll here at Indianapolis. Green flag in here. Heading down the front stretch. Good jump there by Rickard as we go single file down the front stretch. Christian, what are you seeing in turn one?
Just single file all the way back, pretty much. You know, Scott Rickard lost his drafting partner with that last instance, or 2 instances ago. But we're going to see how well he's going to work with Washington if he's catching him. But it's going to be good. Side by side here, he shoots out.
Yeah, Lawson actually taking over the race lead. How about that for the first time of the night? Christian Lawson, your race leader, but not for long. Oh, looks like Rickard wanted to make a move, but he elected not to do so.
Probably wasn't the best time there in the turn. So he's doing it down the back stretch, though. Wide outside. Lawson opts not to block.
Oh, almost got a wreck there in the back. Able to save it and keep it rolling. So Rickard's still out front looking through the field. How about, it's been a quiet night for him. We haven't really mentioned him. But how about Jason Fellenbaum in that number 38 car sitting in the 6th spot? He's been top 10 all night long.
He's putting together good runs. He's got a colorful car, I might add. It looks like he just handed his toddler a marker and said, go to town.
I was going to say colorful is a kind word. I was going to say he's got an ugly car, but I'll tell you what, might be ugly, but it's looking bad fast as he continues to roll in the 6th position. Andrew Hess sitting in the 9th spot. Tom said to keep an eye on that 54. He is pretty good at these cars. He knows how those weight jack stuff work, which we don't even know anything about. But Andrew Hess seems to be figuring that car out as he's entered the top 10.
Putting those runs together using that weight jacker. I know a little bit about it. It puts the weight from one side of the car to the other, which if you're loose, you can lean that car a little bit to the right and tighten it up. And of course, I could have that backwards. I'm no expert.
Meanwhile, Alex Raffoley, we said he entered the lead lap there by getting the wave around. But if you remember right, I'm not sure if he pit there that second to last caution or not. Let's try to see if the Hutchinson Motorsports.
We got car chunking it.
Oh, I missed it. Mark Schrader is junk. Let's see what happened here.
I don't think he was the only car involved either. I saw a Haas car right there.
Boy, I feel like that Haas car.
That's the Haas car again.
Yeah, that Haas car. He's been in about every wreck. That guy's having a rough night. Let's see what happened here. All right, so let's go up to the Hutchinson Motorsports blimp. Most beautiful view in the business. So there's Mark Schrader in the 10 car. Let's see what happens. Oh, we just smoked
hard in the wall.
Yeah, Haas had nowhere to go.
Behind him follows him.
Yeah, Haas had nowhere to go. He saw Schrader getting into the wall, tried to avoid him, and ended up getting in the wall himself. So that's unfortunate. Who is in that Haas car? Is that Jason Gratton? I think it's Jason Gratton.
Like he just disconnected. He's done for the night.
Yeah, it looks like Jason Gratton's calling it quits, and I don't blame him. It's been a rough showing here at Indianapolis for that 46 car, Jason Gratton. So that's going to leave Scott Rickard out front. Go ahead, Christian.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Scott Rickard, more dominant showing. He has so far been the car to beat. He's been trading back and forth with the second place car. Apparently, it doesn't matter who it is. I thought him and the other guy was working together, but nope, he's just working with anybody he can. He is leading this race, looking like a good, strong showing.
You know, I'm not sure the pit situation, that caution is good for Buffoli because now he can come down pit lane, make sure he's good to go on fuel. So he's going to be on the lead lap, be good on fuel. Let's see if that 08 can start working through the field. We know he's got some speed.
Got some speed, and he's got to just work, be patient. You get in the field, you get your mind, you start mad driving. That's when you get into those incidences that could be avoided.
Most definitely, but as we look through the field, let's see Greg Hammond, we haven't heard much from him, sitting in the 16th spot. Not much speed for Hammond, but could be much worse, as it looks like we're finally getting some varying pit strategies. Some cars staying out and others going in.
This is where the race is going to split. Now that people are going to be on two separate pit strategies, we're a quarter of the way through. This is where we're going to see who's making those longer runs work. We've been a few cautions back to back here. I'm showing this is our fourth caution.
Yeah, you
We'll
know,
see how the varying strategies play.
You're definitely going to spice things up. Looks like 8 cars staying out there, and the rest of them coming down pit lane. The rest of them out there are lap cars. So we got 8 out there on these, well, I mean, I guess you could call them old tires. They're not really old tires. The key, though, is fuel. The tires aren't as big of a deal. So those guys going down pit lane, they're going to have a few extra laps of fuel. So if we ever have to get to a green flag stop, might make a little bit of a difference.
Who didn't pit is our leader, Scott Rickard, and Christian Loschen behind him.
Yep, and then one thing to remember, Kyle Bolin, we know he's got some speed. He's going to be the first car on this alternate pit strategy. So we're going to see him. He might eventually cycle through that race lead if we can keep it green here for a while. Maybe get a green flag stop. That would really make things interesting.
Then a few cars stayed out and gained a good handful of positions. Austin in the 26, and I'm showing Kyle McCoy in the 7 gained 6 positions. Austin gained 8.
Yeah, most definitely. Good move for the guys. Like let's say that 26 car, he was all the way back in about 30th position. He was in the back. I mean, this is a good call by him. Why would you not take the 20 positions gain here in that 26 car?
It looked like, if I remember seeing right, he was the car that was kind of committed to going in, but at the last second cut out. He said, everyone's going in, I'm going to stay out. I'm going to get these positions and run with them.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. You know, if we get a yellow here in the next 20 laps, the guys that stayed out are definitely going to be glad they did.
I think like Jesse mentioned, I think he kind of brought the commentator's curse on us. He said the old phrase, cautions breed cautions. We haven't been the same since. So we're going to blame Jesse Bump and Run Becker for that curse.
Well done, Jesse. Jesse stepped away for a moment here. You know, I can't keep that guy at work. He's always taking breaks and vacations. He's never working.
Took a vacation mid-broadcast. What do you think about that, Blake?
That is ridiculous. You know, we just hired him in the last couple of weeks, and he's already ditching out mid-broadcast, taking breaks, and just leaving whenever he wants.
I swear, makes other people put in overtime.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't think of it that way. They're just worried about themselves. They don't think that, you know, Jesse's not thinking when he leaves, it's going to make Christian Taylor have to work double time, basically.
Yep, he's like that worker that always takes the smoke break. You know, the businesses that allow smokers to have that extra break whenever they need it. It's such, you makes you almost want to go smoke if you're not a smoker. You know what I'm saying, Blake?
You know, I've been there. I've almost picked up smoking before just so I can get those extra breaks. But looks like Jesse, he's gonna take all the breaks he can get. As you know, who knows? Maybe he never even comes back for the rest of this race.
It's possible, but as this pace car is gonna pull off here, right there, Blake. Here you go.
All right, we're ready to roll. Scott Rickard, the GOAT, still your race leader. Christian Loschen in second. Field is set, and the green flag in the air as we roll into lap 54 here at Indianapolis.
Blake, one thing I'm noticing on every restart, we have lane changes. Does this league have history of having a rule for lane change violations at all?
You know, the rules probably don't really apply because this is much different being single file starts, so I'm going to guess they're going to let that go. But it is definitely an interesting thing going on as we're single file down the back stretch.
Single file down the entire back stretch like a bunch of kids waiting in the lunch line. We're going to go see who gets the pizza and milk carton first tonight.
And Dylan Glass, boy, this has been a race to forget for that 16 car. He's been in the back all race long. Let's check out, see what's going on with the 16 machine. Dylan Glass.
Driving a hybrid out there. I guess these cars are hybrid, so that don't work here. But he definitely doesn't have the same performance of others.
And I tell you what, look who's out there. It's the 24, Brian Lynch. After going for the ride of his life, he was on his hood, basically down the whole straightaway. He's got that thing rolling.
Got checked and cleared at the medical center, and they put him right back in the car saying, we got to get back out there. Come on, let's go.
Definitely, that's what they did. As soon as he got out, the doc The doc was trying to do a concussion test, and the car owner just dragged him out mid-concussion test, said, "Doc, we don't have time for this. Brian Lynch, get back in the car. We're going racing." But let's jump out front. What are you seeing out front here with the GOAT Scott Rickard?
It's actually worked up. This is the first time I've seen it with almost a half of a second lead. He's not working well with Christian Lawson right now. I don't know if Lawson is saving his fuel or what his strategy is right now, but Rickard almost now is a half second ahead and gaining still.
And one thing to remember, once again, Kyle Bolin, he was the first car off of pit road. He's in the 9th position. He hasn't made any passes. So, I mean, once again, it was just a couple laps he was able to save on his tires and fuel. So Bolin continues to roll in the 9th position.
I'm going to jump back up to the 4th position. The 45 car, Bryce Barfield, he is sneaking up. He might be a car to watch going forward. He ain't got his brother out here to worry about tonight, so I think he might be one of your cars to watch tonight.
I don't know, Christian. All I see is that big gap between him and the car in front of him. You think he's holding the field up, or what's going on?
It might be him thinking some fuel strategy. I don't know what engine. One thing about these cars that we haven't talked about tonight is engine maps. If these guys are smart, they're changing their engine map to caution to save fuel. Our good friend Logan Physician told me a lot about that when he was making his Indianapolis 500 run. He finished 2nd off of nothing but fuel strategy alone.
Well, I tell you what, and Christian, looking at the steering wheel, can you tell what engine map he's on by looking at the wheel, or we're just in the dark up here?
I think we might be in the dark. I think that's something that is hidden. I'm not sure if there's a setting on the wheel. I'm looking at it closely right now. I don't see anything. I think that's more of a private setting that even if it was on the wheel, it wouldn't be updating for us.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely something we would ask Jesse Becker, but once again, you know, he just took a break and he'll probably never coming back.
Yeah,
what do you want?
Oh, he's back.
He's finally back after taking probably a 40-minute smoke break. There's no telling. But, Jesse, we were wondering, looking at these cars, we're going to hop back on board. Can you tell what the engine map is by looking at the steering wheel, or are we in the dark?
Yeah, we can absolutely not tell.
All right, well, we thought so. Christian, you were right. But let's look. Oh, we got Mark Fish who's junked it. I think we're still green. Let's see what happened. Mark Fish right here. Comes out of the corner, smokes the wall, and that's just about what everybody's been doing coming out of 3 and 4. Mark Fish had a New Jersey.
Alex Napoli impersonation.
You know, we've seen that a lot. These guys, they get into that wall up top, and the way the arrow is on these cars, it just ships them straight down to that inside wall, and then just junks the nose.
We have auto cautions on tonight, Blake.
I think we do.
Kind of shocking. He kind of stopped just out inside the racing line there. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I believe this league, that's all they usually have the automatic cautions as far as I know.
Scott Rickard, almost an entire second of a lead now. Christian Lawson is either falling back. Scott Rickard's either checked out. We don't know what's going on, but big lead here.
Yeah, now, Jesse, since you're finally back here, what are you seeing through the field right now is Eric Essere rolling in the 11th position.
I'm really digging his picture there. A little Ricky Bobby shout out there out of Dresden, Tennessee. You know, he's moving pretty good. He's found himself right outside of the top 10. It's exactly where he started, is there in 11th. But
yeah, most
his
definitely.
He's been kind of quiet so far.
Yeah, quiet day for him, and I'm not going to lie. You know, one time I was rolling through Tennessee. I saw an exit sign. It said, "Come on down to Dresden." So I turned, took the hook into Dresden, and I tell you what, that place is a dump. Dresden, Tennessee, somewhere you don't want to go. Definitely never stop there.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it personally.
Surprised.
But we jump back out front. The GOAT, Scott Rickard, still leading this thing. He's got a 6/10 of a second lead on Christian Lawson, who's still cruising in the second spot. But here comes Dylan Grimm. Jesse, what are you seeing out of that 23 car? Dylan Grimm, as he's worked himself up to the 3rd position.
Yeah, he's making moves out there. He's finding himself in the top 3 for probably the first time tonight. And it's interesting because I think this is the biggest gap we've had tonight from first place to second place. So I'm waiting to see if Grimm can get into second, if he's going to be able to even catch up to that 05 car Scott Rickard, or if he's checked out a little too much or not.
Now, Christian, what are you watching on this track right now? Who are you zoned in on?
I'm kind of keeping an eye on Bryce Barfield still. He hasn't gained much, but he's maintaining that 4th spot. And then looking back at the pack, my pick to win it, Tom Ogle. He's riding back exactly where he's been the entire race. And right in that 12th position, right around there at least. He ain't gaining, he ain't losing. So, I don't know, my cash out dropping.
Yeah, definitely as Ogle continues to struggle, folks. Let's go down to the track. We're going to take a quick little break because we want you to listen in to the roars of these engines. We're going down to crank it up here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the Hutchinson Motorsports wall cams. As we return back from the roars of the speedway, these cars are hooked up. We are clean and green still. Lap 66 underway as Rickard continues to lead this one. Christian, what do you think of these engines roaring around the speedway?
They sound something like a bunch of angry bumblebees. I'm not used to the hybrid sound myself. I'd rather a V8 all-American motor screaming in my ear personally, but
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Did I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I believe we have a little sound for that. Hang on, let me find it.
Uh-oh, digging in the archives. There we are.
Oh, that's
There it is,
okay.
baby.
Now I feel like a little bit of freedom.
That's America right there. That's the sound of a V8 engine. But meanwhile, we're watching Scott Rickard slice and dice his way around Indianapolis in that hybrid V6. But we're going through the field. Derek Offerman, he's gained 15 spots now. A big part of that was on strategy, so we're going to see how it plays out. He's up to the fifth spot after starting in 20th.
That's a big gain there for Offerman, making his way through the field, digging the picture, looking like Tony Stewart back in his Home Depot 20 days. And, you know, Tony Stewart had some IndyCar experience, too. It's where he came from before he got into NASCAR, as far as I know. So maybe he's trying to channel some of that young Tony Stewart.
Wait, are you telling me that's not Tony Stewart in the picture?
I don't think it is. It's close, but I think it's just a really good doppelganger.
I'm a Tony Stewart fan, and I can assure you that is not Tony Stewart in the picture.
I don't know. Looks just like him to me.
Might need to
But
get
we
your
jump
eyes
back
checked.
out front here as Christian Lawson still cruising in the second spot. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I don't think that 3-car has anything for the 05 of Rickard. They better hope he crashes it.
This is the first time tonight that Rickard's stepped out to a lead. It looks like he's 0.7 of a second, 0.8 of a second I'm seeing now. This is the first time that the field, anybody has allowed him to get that advantage. So Christian Lawson is not the best car out there tonight.
Now, Jesse, what are you thinking about? Let's take a look here at Josh Robinson. Been a quiet race for him. Back-to-back points season championships here with the Stars and Stripes Racing League. But I tell you what, these Indy cars aren't Josh's strong point, and I believe that's what he told me last week during the interview. Oh, one into the wall. Caution is out.
We got some junk on the track. Ben
Alex
Shepard
Buffoli again has junked it. His night is over. He used his fast repair already.
That's heartbreak for Buffoli there. Running second early on. Now he's jumped his car twice.
Yeah,
Very similar wreck both
Yeah,
times.
with a couple cautions, he got back on the lead lap, so we were wondering if he could work through the field. Just was unable to get that thing going in the dirty air. Drove it in too hard and just junked it as the 08 of Buffoli is headed back to Italy.
It's
That's gonna make
unfortunate for
somebody
that
to feel-
driver.
That's gonna make somebody in the field very happy, ain't it, Blake?
Oh, most definitely. I'm going to tell you who's happy. Let's find him, see how he's doing. Andrew Hess, the Italian hating 54-car Andrew Hess. He's grinning ear to ear. Our only Italian in the field has just junked it.
The pit
only thing that
reporters
makes-
are telling us his crew is popping bottles right now. It's kind of crazy down there on pit lane.
The only thing that makes him more happy is when somebody asks him about his wieners on Instagram.
And be sure, you know, if you see Andrew, find him and ask him about his wieners on Instagram. He will happily show you his wieners.
Did you happen to catch that Wiener 500 action, Blake?
Yeah, that was a great one. You know, that was a great race. You know, I told you all along that Slaw Dog was going to win it, didn't I, Jesse?
You know, I think it was me that picked Slaw Dog originally. I don't even remember what dog you picked, but, you know, if you want to claim the Slaw Dog fame, I'll let you have it, you know. But it was a really close race. It came right down to the edge of the bun.
Now, how about, as we interrupt you, Kyle Bowling, if you remember, he was the first car that came off of pit road that did pit that last caution. He's going to stay out there. He's going to be the only one staying out there all by himself as we pull up the pit strategy board. He's got, what's that? That 19, I'm seeing 19 laps. That's kind of scary here on a pit run. I don't think he can last very long.
What is
Yeah,
the
you got to
max you
wonder if
reckon
it
you
was
could get?
intentional.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure about that call. Christian, looking at our notes, what's the the typical fuel run here?
I'm taking a look now. I'm not seeing a fuel run in our
We must
notes
have not-
here,
no,
unless
we
I'm
must have
missing it.
not- We must have not
If
had
I
that. I was
remember from
surprised.
real life, it's like 32 or 33 laps in
Yeah.
real life. I imagine these guys are running full tanks.
I agree. And I could have swore somebody gave us some fuel info, but maybe not the case. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're right. I know it's low 30s at most. So, I mean, really, Bowling's kind of banking on a caution. But honestly, even if a caution comes out in 10 laps, he's going to be the only one to pit. So I just don't know about this call because he was in the 9th position, I believe.
Yeah, and if I'm doing my math backwards, I'm not really good at it. But if, let's say the pit window theoretically is 33 laps, that's going to leave you from here. If it went green, you'd be pitting at, let's see, 105-ish, 104, 105, and then you'd go from there to about 140. And then your last pit stop will be setting up pretty perfectly right in the 170s. So I think now would be a good time to pit if we were expecting a green flag run to here to split the pit stops evenly and minimize them. So if it does stay green, that might hurt the 44.
Absolutely. But we're going to pull in a driver real quick for a quick little interview. I got some questions for somebody here, folks. Josh, Blake, Christian, and Jesse up in the booth. You got us?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, it's going pretty good. I tell you what, you know, you just cashed in your second consecutive Stars and Stripes Points Championship, but man, it's not looking too hot for you in that Indy car here tonight.
You know, I had a little bit of a rough start with some technology getting into tonight, and now that I'm in here, I've just been hanging out at the back. Probably looks like I'm junk, but I'm just biding my time. With exception to that guy that came from Wyoming to hit me under caution there, but other than that, it's not too bad.
Jesse, what are you seeing out there for the 30 car Josh Robinson?
I'm not seeing too much, but I know one thing that I think you had a good view of was that last caution. Was Buffoli right there in front of you whenever that last yellow happened?
Yeah, I seen him get a little too low entering that corner, and so I started backing off, and the moment I backed off, he was out of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him because Buffoli, he was running second early on, but before we send Josh back down there to race, Christian, what do you got for him?
I'm gonna ask, could you give us a explanation of the weight jacker in these cars and what it does for them?
It'll loosen the car up on entry a little bit, the higher it is, it seems. But that I'm no expert.
Gotcha.
Well, that's good to know because we had no clue up in the booth, but let's send you back up as we're going green. Best of luck, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
So there's Josh as we go green here pretty quickly. Green flag in the air. Kyle Bolin, your race leader after staying out, not pitting.
Yeah, he's first time in the lead for the 44, and the first time it's been somebody other than the 05 in a long time. We'll see how the strategy works out for the 44 if the clean air is going to help that race car.
Yeah, you know, one thing I noticed, Scott Ricker, you can't be beaten on the track, but I tell you what, his pit crew sure can be beaten in the pits. That pit crew is junk for the 05 of Scott Ricker.
Seeing him trying to use that draft to catch up. Last time he made the pass, after the restart, the first restart that was, he made that 3 wide pass on the bottom. We're going to see if he can get that run and do the same here.
Yeah, you know, we kind of bashed the strategy here of the 44 of bowling, but Jesse, you know, me and you, we've been wrong before here on pit strategies, but I'm just not too sure how this is going to work out well for that 44 car, Kyle Bowling.
Yeah, we did have a race previously where you were convinced that the cars didn't run full fuel, but they absolutely did. So who knows what the fuel situation is. I imagine if we're doing a full-length race, we've got full fuel tanks, but the 44 might have to take another extra pit stop compared to the rest of these guys if it stays green. So I think that might be the last thing he wants. He just wants to get that track position and see another yellow here.
Yeah, and one thing I do know, Christian, I do know if you're the lead car in a pack, you're actually using a little more fuel as well. So Bowling, he's short on fuel compared to the rest of these guys, and he's out front eating all the air.
Yep, that's going to cost him in the long run. I want to take a little segue of what Jesse said there when you and Jesse had an issue with the fuel. Take a look at the Hutchinson Motorsports TV shorts. You could find them on the channel. We're going to be posting some more. Stay tuned to that action. That's where you're going to see the best action that happens right here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV, the best broadcasting service in the nation.
Yeah, that's a great plug, Christian. And folks, that's another reason we're doing this Discord community. We want all our fans in the same place. That way, if you have a favorite clip that we might have missed, because, you know, we're pretty busy during broadcast, we might not remember a certain wreck that you enjoyed. Give us some information or clip it yourself, send it to us, and we might feature it in a Hutchinson Motorsports TV short.
Definitely trying to step the production value up here at HMS TV. I'm going to be slaving away, creating clips, creating videos. So the least y'all can do is watch them, tell your friends, you know, like, subscribe, do all those good things.
You know, Blake, that is all if he doesn't take another vacation.
Yeah, you know, Jesse just took about a 4-hour vacation to go outside. I think he was smoking. I have no clue what he was doing, but he's finally back.
Gosh, I was gone for like 10 minutes.
Well, he's finally back, and we're going to put him to work. I'm going to make him work after the race is over to get his hours back in.
I'll make the time. Don't worry, I'll make it.
But meanwhile, well, you know what? One last plug. You know, we're going to go ahead and throw this in there, folks. If you like what you're watching here at Hutchinson Motorsports TV, as always, you know, give us a like and subscribe. That's a given. But if you click the page and go to our bio, we have a description there. There's some information. If you're wanting to give, you got some chances to donate. We got a PayPal and a Venmo linked. That money, that way we can feed the incoming children here for Bump and Run Jesse Becker and get Christian a nice meal every once in a while.
Speaking of the incoming child, you know, talking to my brother-in-law, he had me download this app. You know, the women out there, they have the pregnancy apps on their phone and tells you how big the baby's supposed to be or whatever. Apparently there's a man version. And currently, my kid is the size of a carnivorous pine cone.
Oh, wow. Christian, what do you think about that?
The first thing that comes to my head is a Facebook group. It's called the Dual Men's Club. I think that would be a great post for you to find that Facebook page and introduce yourself, Jesse.
I am aware of the Dual Men's Club. There is some fun stuff in there.
Just make sure you use that banana for scale.
Absolutely. Derek Offerman looking good here in the 20.
Yeah, Offerman, he worked on an alternate pit strategy. Seems to work out for him because he was able to pit with the rest of the field. So he worked himself up to the top 10, currently in 6th. And we go back up front. Scott Rickard still sitting in the 3rd position as he starts to reel in your top 2.
You know, he might be trying to save that fuel that the 44 is burning.
Yeah, now, Jesse, who do you want to be? If you're one of these 3 cars out front, which one would you want to be in the seat of right now?
Oh, that's tough. I think the Lostgen's in a good spot here following Bowling, but with these Indy cars, the air is so weird. I feel like Rickard being that third car, he might be able to get just a little bit. Oh, we got junk in the back, actually. I don't know who that was.
Oh, it's Tom Ogle. The 11 of Ogle has jumped it.
Oh, no.
We paid so much money for that paint job, and it is destroyed.
Yeah, I tell you, we'll talk about a waste of money. Tom Ogle, we put all kinds of money into that car to be featured, and this is what he does. Let's see what happened. There's the 11 of Ogle here. Let's see what he does heading into the corner. Looks like a decent entrance, comes out high, hits the wall, and then smokes it. We've seen that over and over. Oh, that was almost deadly.
Get somebody else, too.
That was
that yellow car.
That was the Penske car. Almost went for a ride. Could you imagine if you're in that Penske car and you hit Ogle there, you're probably flipping into the grandstands.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
that was not a good happening.
If I had $1 for every time one of these drivers has smacked the right rear on corner exit and hit that inside wall, I'd have like $4 at this point, which like isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened 4 times.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be a common thing here with these Indy cars. Looks like there's just nowhere for them to go other than that inside wall once they clip the right rear on the wall and exit.
And it's one of the things I talked about pre-race is the dirty air. Sometimes you're not ready for how the car is going to react depending on how close you are to the car in front, and just pushes.
And as we switched the topic back up to your race leader, Kyle Bowen, that was probably the best case scenario for him. Now he's going to come down pit road. It's going to be unfortunate. He's going to drop all the way to the back, but he's going to have a slight advantage and have 10 laps of more fuel than the rest of these guys. So, Jesse, what are you thinking here for the 44 of Bowling? I'm surprised there's that many cars coming down.
Interesting.
Well, it really works out for him. I did not believe the entire field would come down for the most part, but wow, that one really works out for the 44. I kind of thought he'd be toast.
Yeah, when you were first starting to mention it, I saw that it had only been about 10 laps in the stint, and I was really, really thinking in my head, like, you could stay out here, but I feel like a lot more people are going to come down pit road than we expect, because everybody's thinking the same thing. The more fuel you take now and this race stays green, the less fuel you're going to have to take later. So we're probably going to see, a lot of people coming down pit road every chance they get at this point of the race.
Yeah, so that's going to cycle Jason Fellenbaum back to the race lead here. I believe he might have been on there in strategy earlier. Maybe not. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But anyways, the 38 is going to be your race leader. He's going to have 11 laps right now on the tank. If you're in that 30, or I'm sorry, Jesse and Christian, if you are out there, would you rather be that 38 car with 11 laps on your tank, or would you rather be the first car off of pit road, Kyle Bowen, with a full tank?
Think back to the America's favorite crew chief, Larry Mack. One of his biggest sayings is, if you got those tires, smoke them. And we have unlimited tires tonight, so I'm going to be that car fresh off pit road. I'm going to need all the tires that I could get. We all know that.
Yeah, we know you can hot lap. That is for sure.
Absolutely.
This is my kind of race.
Yep, for sure. We still haven't had a green flag cycle, which is kind of interesting here as we roll into lap 83. I'm going to go in the different field here. I think I want to be Jason Fellenbaum. The way this race is going, I don't think this thing's going to stay green for another 22 laps to worry about. So if I'm out there, I want to be that 38 car, have the clean air, be your race leader, and then maybe come down pit road during the next caution.
Yeah, if Fellenbaum can, little known fact, I do have a iRacing team. Christian is on it, and I don't know if he's ever brought a set of tires back without the wires showing. So if Fellenbaum can do not that and save these tires here and have a good run in the front, he'll be looking good.
The thing I've learned with these, I really think there's not much in the tire saving here. These guys are basically flat-footing around this track. You're really not going to be able to save much tires. It's all about the fuel game, in my opinion. But we're going to see how much fall off there is as the field gets set. Fellenbaum going to be your race leader. Essery in second. Then we got Hess, Jackson, and Nate Lynch to round out your top 5.
A lot of new names up here.
Yeah, definitely good strategy here. Once again, your top 6 stayed out there. They were all near the back or mid-pack at the very best. So good call for them. To gain that track position. It wasn't worth staying out if you're already in, 5th to 10th. But if you're sitting in, 15th to 30th, why not stay out there, take the track position?
Absolutely. As Tom Ogle's catching the pack, he's going to come out of the pits with his faster Paris car, all nice, new, shiny again. We had to pay for another wrap. He's 1 lap down, so he's going to be hoping for a quick caution.
Yeah, the good news for him, though, there's only one other car on the lead lap. Or, I'm sorry, 1 lap down, I mean. So he is going to have to battle him for that lucky dog spot. But it's not like he's got a bunch of cars to worry about getting around.
We're getting ready to go back green here. Pace car about to come off.
And we're ready to roll. Jesse, you're going to take a screen here with your new race leader, Jason Fellenbaum.
Absolutely. Fellenbaum kicking us off from the first time from the front. Green flag is out. I see smoke in the back. Not sure what's going on there, but Fellenbaum gets a good jump. As there's a car there about 6 rows back. Looking at the inside, he cuts back 2 by 2, a little farther back, but single file here in the front with Fellenbaum, Essery, and Hess breaking away a little bit.
Christian, what are you saying out of that 54 car, Andrew Hess? Tom Ogle warned us he'd get this thing figured out eventually. It looks like he finally does.
He's gotten up here on strategy, so we're going to see how well he maintains it. We all know he knows how to make this car work for us, so we're going to see if the weight jacker and the fuel mapping helps him out. We know he understands it more than anyone out here.
Now, Christian, do you think the weight jacker has asked Andrew Hess about his wieners on Instagram?
I don't think the weight jacker cares about his wieners, nor does any others.
Is the weight jacker sentient? Did I miss that?
What's
There's
that?
No telling.
Don't worry about it.
Will we jump back out front? Jason Fellenbaum, still your race leader in that number 38 car. Jesse, how ugly is this paint scheme?
Man, it's certainly something. It looks like they went into Microsoft Paint and just started plopping random squares of color down and came out with an Indy car. But, paint, not looking at the paint, the driving's impressed me. I mean, he held off Essery there at one point. Essery was on the inside, and he was able to stick to the lead, driving on the outside and held him off.
And one thing to remember, Kyle Bolin, who was the first car off a pit road, and I think we've confirmed, 11 laps, fresh tires, don't really matter. He's not going anywhere.
One thing we're seeing the first time tonight from our leader, Fellenbaum, he is trying to break that trap, taking that terrain down to the inside and back out again. Seems to be helping him out as he's up to 5.5 a second lead.
Yeah, that's a good point, Christian. This is the first time your race leader has aggressively tried to shake the draft, and Jason Fellenbaum doing a great job. Look at him leaving the field.
Definitely working. It's definitely an IndyCar thing, watching them snake here down the front stretch, but Fellenbaum definitely starting to separate a gap, and I mean, it's even affecting third place. I mean, Hess is falling back a little over a second here, all the way back in third place. It's definitely making an impact on this field and kind of shaking things up from the usual.
Absolutely. And we dropped to the back. We just talked with Josh Robinson. He said he was cruising, and I sure hope he's cruising. Looks like he's on a Sunday drive right now as he's holding up the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last. Boy, he's going from a champion to winning the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last.
And I don't think he's going to stay there. Robinson's shown good potential. I think he is really just biding his time right now. But if he's still there near the end, I'd be shocked.
Our race leader turning some fast laps currently.
Yeah, last lap around the speedway for your race leader, 41-48, 2/10 faster than your second place car almost.
He works his way up to a 7/10 lead there, falling down to 6th as I say it, but he still doesn't have much to worry about it.
Most definitely, as we're finally coming up to almost the halfway point, heading into lap 89. Folks, 200 laps here, full length, Indy 500 with the Stars and Stripes series here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV, world's #1 streaming service. Jesse, what do you know about the world's #1 streaming service, Hutchinson Motorsports TV?
I mean, it's the best there is. There's no reason to have any other sort of streaming service because, what would you rather do with your free time? You want to watch some boring show on Netflix or, maybe the only exception I'll allow is, the NASCAR being on Prime these days. But even that's pushing it because Hutchinson Motorsports TV has got the best action you can find. I mean, there's nothing else I'd rather watch.
Yeah, and you guys, you haven't really been much a part of the Stars and Stripes series, but we talk to Tom Ogle all the time, and Tom always tells us about how much money his family has saved with cutting all their streaming services and only watching Hutchinson Motorsports TV. He said he might be able to take his family on a vacation, although his wife, I will add, she hasn't been happy about it. But it looks like she's finally getting over it, and she's learning to love Hutchinson Motorsports TV as they're wrecking in the back.
Oh, man.
Hard into the inside wall.
Aaron Hale out of Colesburg. Let's see what happened. He just junked it.
A little bit of net code there, it looks like, with that yellow car.
Let's take a look here. We got the yellow car there, and then Aaron Hale on the outside. Oh, my. No, he just junked him. No net code there, Jesse. He junked him.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was very wrong.
That is not net code, and that was Kyle McCoy. He just took him out. That might have been intentional. Let's see the replay here once again. Let's hop on board here. Christian, walk us through this here as we're on board with Kyle McCoy.
You see Kyle McCoy coming through the turn 3 and 4. He goes down to the inside there. He thinks he's going to have a run, and he just lets the car drift up the track like no one is there. Drives off into the sunset like that.
Well, I tell you what, seeing that replay, that kind of brings me back to a little issue you had with somebody in a recent race. You were basically Aaron Hale there, and then the guy that took you out was that 7 car, Kyle McCoy.
Well, that was a little bit more different story. He didn't run into the back of him and then, blame racecraft. So it's a little bit different story there, but we're going to keep me off the air when that comes to that incident.
We'll ask ChatGPT what it thinks later on about this incident between Aaron Hale and Kyle McCoy.
Absolutely, all incidents tonight will be. We're just going to ask ChatGPT about everything. That's going to be our go-to source if we have any discrepancies up here in the booth or in race control.
Now, how about this? I thought for sure your race leader, Jason Fellenbaum, he stayed out there last time. He's staying out again. 21 laps on that tank of fuel.
This is the first time tonight that the strategies are really seemed like they're starting to split. I mean, it looked to me like it was almost a perfect 50-50 split of cars coming down pit road and cars staying out. The gears are really starting to turn in people's brains of how they want the end of this race to pan out for them with their pit strategy.
And 12 cars stayed out there, so we're really 50-50, as you said. Trey Jackson looks like he's going to be the first car off of pit road on the new strategy. Trey Jackson has to be feeling good about that.
Hold on a minute. We've got a car around on pit road.
Oh, who's that?
Alan Wanamaker spun on pit road there.
Let's rewind it here.
What happened? That'd be the 13 car. He's finally getting it back going here.
Oh, yeah. Hang on here. Here he is. Let's get a little better view. Let's go over to the Hutchinson Motorsports chopper cam. Well, I tell you what, one of the best choppers in the business. Here it is. Alan Wanamaker leaves his stall here. I think he just gets on it too hard. Yep. Just loops it around.
Absolutely gave it the beans when the jack dropped, and now he's just sitting there looking goofy.
Boy,
not
Jesse,
a good look for the 13.
Is pit road trouble something that is going on in North Carolina or what?
It could just be a Winston-Salem thing. I don't have that sort of trouble. I might miss my box, but I'm not going to spin it when the jack drops. I'm better than that. But, my theory on that. 13 problem.
My theory on that, maybe the weight jacker did too much.
It could be. I'm not a weight jacker expert. It could have something to do with it. It could have nothing to do with it. Who knows? It's not me. I don't know.
Who knows?
I personally
go ahead,
I personally think it was that right pedal. That's all that it had to do with it. He got happy. He put it to the floor, and it went around.
Gave it the beans.
And that's something Christian might know of, having a little heavy foot.
Absolutely.
I have no further comments on the subject.
But we look through the field, though. This is interesting. We basically have 3 different strategies. Your top 4, they've stayed out there the last 2 pit stops. Then basically up until about 12th. So about 5th to 12th, they are out there on 11 lap old tires / tank, whatever you want to call it. And then 13th on back, all came down pit road. So going to be interesting how this plays out with 3 different strategies all at once.
not too much changing around in the top 5 from when we last dropped the green flag, but Kyle Bowling finding his way back up in the top 5 after leading just here recently. So we'll see if he's going to make any kind of moves here with the freshest tires here in the top 5.
And again, you know, I'm going to stick on, I'm going to die on the hill. I don't think the tires matter at all. It's all about that fuel.
It could be the case for sure.
But we're going to see how this works out. I think we should be going green this time around, I'd assume, as Jason Fellenbaum, still your race leader, trying to hold off Essery, Hess, Lynch, and Bowling as your top 5. Now, Christian, it's your time to shine as a pace car heads in. Take a screen.
Pace car's off. Jason Fellenbaum is taking his time, getting to the flag. Not sure they know they could go anytime, but we're off. We are green. Stay in single file. No one's really fanning out this time as we make our way down the track into turn 1. The leader already with 0.4 of a second gap from the second place of Essery there in the 37.
Jesse, let us know what you're seeing on the track.
Nothing too crazy right now. We've got the bobbing and weaving thanks to our leader, Fellenbaum, out there looking like a snake. And we've got some 2x2 action here for 3rd through 5th, it looks like.
Not only was there a snake, he went down twice there down the back stretch. He is all about shaking that draft. He's trying to win this thing here on lap 94. Jason Fellenbaum, your race leader.
It definitely is a wild view here at Indianapolis when these Indy cars start to do it. And it definitely leads to more side-by-side racing because a lot of people trying to make moves. Whenever the snake goes up the track, they try to stay low.
Looks like we got a bit of a battle here. The GOAT, Scott Rickard, trying to find his way around Dylan Grimm. Both of them have been bad, fast all night long.
Scott Rickard trying to get back to the front. You know, he dominated the first quarter of this race, a little over that. Pit strategies, and from everybody else staying out when you think they're going to pit, he is being kept back there. But I don't think it's going to be long. We're going to see Scott Rickard back out front soon.
Yeah, the bad news for Scott was they get into the wall, able to keep it out of the inside wall for once, so after getting to the outside.
Close.
But the bad news for Rickard, though, is he finally there is a fast car that is in front of him on the same strategy. That's Dylan Grimm. Dylan Grimm on the same strategy as Rickard has got around him, so that's going to be something to watch. Now, Christian, earlier you were watching this 45 car Bryce Barfield. Looks like he's on the road to nowhere, sitting in the 10th spot right now. What are you seeing out of the 45?
Well, right now we're in a interesting scenario where everyone's on different pitch strategies. So I'm not sure if he's lost those positions or just fell back due to the pitting cycles, but we're going to keep an eye on him. I haven't really seen him catch my eye much. You know, he qualified 8th. Sitting 10th now. He had worked his way up, but this is going to be one of those cars down the lot towards the end, in like the later half, the 3rd quarter of this race. But as we're at lap 97, we're just approaching halfway.
And Jesse, your pick to win it. He's still in it. He's making a pass here for the 10th spot, getting back in the top 10. Andrew Medlin, he's sticking around here as he's cruising into the 10th position.
Absolutely, some hard racing there in the back, but my eyes right now on the front 2 cars, it's probably one of, if not the biggest breakaway for a 1-2 pairing that we've seen all night. I mean, Fellenbaum and Essery are leaving Bowling behind, and you've got to think that Bowling is holding back somehow to be getting left behind this bad.
Most definitely. You know, Fellenbaum, we didn't really know anything about him, but as soon as he got this race lead, that 38 car just turned into a rocket ship out front.
Trey Jackson just falling a lap down there. That's going to be bad news for Thomas Ogle, who was trying to get his lap back from that earlier self-spin. He's going to have to catch that car past him.
Yeah, I noticed Trey had to come down pit road. I'm not sure if he got into the wall or something. He got passed by a few cars. I doubt it was a scheduled stop as we just went green just a handful of laps ago.
Very bad news for Thomas Ogle there.
As we drop to the back, Jesse, looks like Josh Robinson. Currently, he's got around a couple cars. He's in the 20th spot right now.
Trying to work his way forward while biding his time. It's what he's been telling us all night, what he told us when he was up here in the booth with us. Just staying patient, you know. a lot of these guys, he's probably not the only one, but he's in his head, he's saying it's not even halfway yet. There's no reason to rush things, just survive until you get to about the last, I'd say once we hit about 150 is when you really got to start thinking big picture and start making the moves.
Absolutely, but it's going to be tough, though, if he waits too long. But let's see if Robinson can navigate himself up to the front as we roll into the back half of this race. We're on lap 100 out of 200.
Woohoo! I'm popping bottles right now. We're halfway through. This feels like I've broadcasted 2 races, and we've still got another 100 laps here.
Well, you know, you're not the one that took a vacation in the middle of it, Blake. So I don't know why he's complaining.
Yeah, Brent, of course the guy that took a vacation mid-broadcast is complaining about how long the race is. But here we are as Jason Fellenbaum continues to dominate this race. You know, I am impressed. I thought Scott Rickard was just going to lead the rest of the laps and just win this thing outright. But Jason Fellenbaum out there, he might be faster than Rickard was when he was in the race lead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's his strategy or if he's just got this speed that we haven't seen yet tonight, but he's starting to put on a clinic, and I don't know if it's gonna hurt him in the long run or not, but this is the first time we've really seen somebody separate themselves as much as Fellenbaum has here. I mean, Essery's still kind of keeping up with him, but it's even starting to be a gap there as well.
And, you know, I'm not changing my pick. I'm sticking with the GOAT Scott Rickard, but right now, if I could hop in a car where they're at, I'd want to be in that 23 car, Dylan Grimm. I think he's got a great shot right now. Has a full tank of fuel, sitting in the 5th spot, and he's right on the back bumper of Andrew Hess in the 54 machine.
And we've talked about it previously. Grimm won last year's Stars and Stripes Indy 500, so looking to do it again. And like you said, he's in a good spot, potentially with a good pit strategy, sitting top 5. I mean, it looks like he's setting up to try to do it again.
Definitely looking good. Christian, what are you seeing through the field right now?
Well, I'm seeing, you know, Scott Rickard sitting in the 6th position. Bryce Barfield staying right where we talked about him last in the 10th position. You know, McCoy's had his shot up front, and he's running 12th. Just some more names as we go back down. Dylan Glass still running back there in the Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last. And then Thomas Ogle, 1 lap down. Gray Jackson has kind of screwed Tom Ogle. You know, he's got to catch that car. If he has any chance of getting this lap back, it's going to keep him trapped. He's going to have to get lucky, and hopefully everybody in front of him hit so that he can get that waiver round.
And, you know, I'm going to correct you real quick. Greg Hammond actually taking that Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last position from Dylan Glass. But he's right there battling with him.
Oh, man.
Oh, look out!
Almost scheduled.
He almost
Holy
just
cow.
committed suicide, folks, as Greg Hammond almost annihilates the inside pit wall.
That could not have been better timing as we highlighted the battle for last there for Greg Hammond.
I tell you what, he would have been dead. That would have cut the car straight in half if he hit that thing at 220 mile an hour.
Wow. That would have been a brutal wreck.
Yes, sir, but out front, how about this? Fellenbaum and Essery just flat out leaving the field. We got about a 3-second gap between 2nd and 3rd place.
I'm interested to see how this works out in the long run for these guys. You know, we didn't see anything like this at all in the first, 70 laps of this race or so. You know, these guys are pushing hard and burning fuel. It could make, if this thing somehow stays green, it could make the difference.
Yeah, and remember, Fellenbaum, he stayed out there the last couple times. He's going to have to pit soon. He's on lap 34, and remember, we had a handful of caution laps as well. So, my guess is here in the next few laps, I think he's going to be about out of fuel. Same with Essery.
Did see our first green flag stops.
Yeah, it seems like the field's kind of settled down. They're spaced out a bit in most places. So guys are kind of taking it easy, and we're getting some green flag running as Dylan Grimm he's still battling with Aaron. He cannot get around that 54 of Hess. Hess is doing great defensive driving, holding on to that 4th position.
Want to take a quick second.
Here comes your race leader, Jason Fellenbaum, down pit road. Christian, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to interrupt the race action, but I was going to say I see 17 people watching now, but I only see 6 likes. So if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And leave a comment. Tell us who you think your favorite to win this race is.
Definitely. Thanks for bringing that out, Christian. As always, it's free. It's easy to do, folks. Just click that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the page. We're up to 266 subscribers here. We're really trying to make the push for 1,000. It'd really help us out if you click that subscribe button, because we're going to be here. We're going to be in the off season for the Stars and Stripes series, but as you know, every Thursday night, Stars and Stripes series racing going to be back here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV next season.
See Eric Essery leading right out front. It would really make Ricky Bobby happy if you subscribe to Hutchinson Motorsports TV.
Absolutely. When we know Essery, he's going to have to come down pit road here. I'm guessing next lap, because we know Fellenbaum, he probably didn't want to pit, with multiple laps left of fuel.
Jesse, if you were in Essery's position, when would you come?
I mean, it's got to be close to time. I don't know how long he can last, but he's trying to last as long as he can. But like Blake said, it's got to be soon.
And he's coming. Here comes Essery down pit road. He's coming in. He's coming fast. The 37 down pit road. New race leader going to be the 44, Kyle Bowling.
He's got Andrew Hess entering pits with him there. A couple guys. I don't know if they were on the same strategy or not, but Hess making a green flag stop as well. We're starting to see a little bit of a pit cycle here.
A couple of guys finally coming together down pit road as Kyle Bowling, your race leader, Dylan Grimm, moves into the second position.
I don't follow this strategy, but if we see a fulfilled green flag cycle here, my brain's going to be turned into even more soup trying to figure out who's on the best strategy. I really can't tell at this point.
And it really gets tough because a lot of times the Hutchinson Motorsports pit strategy doesn't work well when there's over 30 cars. But we're going to see how it works out. I questioned the call to stay out there for our race leaders that last time when Fellenbaum, he skipped 2 yellow flag pit stops, and right now it looks like it's finally biting them.
Tell you right now, we're on 90 laps to go, lap 110 of 200 here. If my math's correct, that we can get 30 to 35 laps on a tank, and I believe we can, because they were lasting about 36 with the caution flags. They've got 2 stops left here for the guys that just pit.
Yeah, and the radio, I just heard 25, and Nate Lynch, he's going to be heading down pit road this time, so here comes the 25. Kyle Bowling, your race leader. Let's pull up your pit strategy board. He's got 29 laps. So, honestly, he's only going to be able to stay out there, I'd say 3, 4, maybe 5 laps max. I'd say, 35 green flag laps. I'm not sure he'll be able to make it that far.
You see the whole top 5 there. They're almost all the same strategy. They all pitted at the exact same time. Top 6.
Basically all of them.
Further back. Yeah, all of them. I kept looking down. That blue line there threw me off. But, yes, as you see, we're going to see what happens here. I bet they might all start coming at the same time.
That's a good bet. I would think so, don't you think, Jesse?
Absolutely agree. There might be a little bit of variation. They might not be able to time it exactly, but it's going to be around similar laps, I'd say, is when they come.
Most definitely. And I just learned some crazy coding stuff. Watch this as I do it live on Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Take a look at what I just did. Unbelievable. Pulling up the top 20. Can you believe it? I am a hacker. Hutchinson Motorsports TV, folks. That's why we're the #1 streaming service. But let's take a look through the field here. You see the top 8 there all have 30 laps. And then you got 20 laps. As one gets into the wall, we're still green. And then you got from 9th all the way down to about 17th with 20 laps.
Yeah, lots of varying strategies. The thing is, 2 stops left at a minimum. These guys that are in the front right now, 1st through 7th, all they're doing right now is trying to pit as late as possible, so that way, if this thing does manage to stay green for the final 87 laps or so, that's less fuel you got to put in the car for the last stop.
Yeah, the best hope for the 38 of Fellenbaum, if this thing does stay green, maybe this pit cycle will work out, and he gets to do one less pit stop than the rest of these guys.
You know, I've already lost an undisclosed amount of money on Tom Ogle's bet to win this race. I'm going to go ahead and put some more money down that we will not stay green. Somebody's going to junk it off the corner and slam that inside wall like we've seen multiple times. It might even be a repeat offender.
All right, now here's our next bet. Let's all get in on this. So our next caution lap, we're going to do an over-under. Next caution lap, I'm going to say 130. Jesse, you going with over or under?
Which way is which? Is over after?
Over's going to be after, so higher is over, under's going to be lower.
I'm taking the over. I think these guys are in a groove right now for the first time all night, and I think if we're going to see another yellow, it'll be later in the race.
What do you think, Christian?
I'm gonna go under because we have some cars still waiting to pit. Their tires are gonna be warm, and they're gonna come into pit. They're gonna be comfortable, used to those warm tires. They're gonna come out, and somebody is gonna be the victim to junk it before lap 130.
Yeah, going to be interesting how this plays out. You know, most of the field's still kind of pretty close, bumper to or wing to wing, whatever you want to call it, all right there together. So definitely have some potential for a wreck. As we look to the field, Scott Rickard still sitting in the 3rd position.
I heard the audible sigh from Jesse when you said bumper again for like the 15th time on this broadcast.
And here comes Kyle Bolin down pit road. So there's our answer. The guys who pit that last caution. We got Kyle McCoy, Bolin heading down, and then Dylan Grimm. He's going to have to pit as well soon. Let's pull up that Hutchinson Motorsports pit strategy board. 34 laps on these. So still the top 5 on this extended run right now. So I'm guessing the next 2 laps, you're going to see all 5 of those guys down pit road.
Yeah, they can't last much longer than this.
Yeah, and here comes
Rickard and Offerman coming this time.
Yep. So our second and third place cars at least pitting. It's like our leader might stay out there though. Dylan Grimm gonna roll it at least another lap. As we got, I believe is that McCoy unlapping himself?
There's so many yellow cars
I don't know.
out there,
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you.
There's a bunch. It wasn't McCoy. It's somebody else with a similar car. But nonetheless, Dylan Grimm still cruising out there. My guess is he's going to be heading down pit road this time.
That would be Trey Jackson in the number 5 that he's following there.
Let's see here, Dylan Grimm, still your race leader. See if he's going to be turning left, heading down that pit road. Nope, staying out there. I'm not sure how much longer he can last.
He's got to be pushing the limit here.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with this strategy. Because, you're pushing the limit, and for what? You can't, this is not going to be a one-stop race even now, so...
I'm going to have to disagree. The longer he stays out here is the less fuel he's got to put in it later. So, it'll only help him if it stays green the whole way.
Let's look at the math here. So he's got 30, so we'll call it 37 laps. 1 or 2 of them were under caution. So let's say he goes 35, 36 laps. Comes in this time, then the next time around 150. Then he's got 1 more. So, yeah, it's really just going to come down to how fast that last pit stop is as Christian Lawson heads down pit lane from 2nd.
Yeah, the setup for a later pit stop, I sound like a broken record, but if you have a later pit stop, it's less fuel that you're going to need to make it to the end. And, if you skip on the tires, just do a splash and go. The pit times are already quick here, but it could be even quicker.
And it doesn't take much.
The lap times, you see the difference these fresh tires are doing. I'm seeing Kyle McCoy with the last lap speed of 41.48. Dylan Grimm, last lap, 43.181. He's losing time the longer he stays out as he's coming to pit road now.
So he's going to give up the lead. How about Joshua Altus? First time we mentioned him here tonight, the Lynchburg Virginian. Altus has had some good runs here in the Next Gen Cup Series this season. He's going to try to turn it here to the open wheel Indy cars, see if he can get this thing figured out. Let's pull up the pit strategy board, see how Altus is looking.
I was going to say, that's a new name tonight I haven't heard in Joshua Altus. And the guy right there in second on the same strategy as him, Brian Burchett, I haven't heard his name much at all, if at all, tonight. So a couple new faces here in the top 2. Mark Schrader, former Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last contendee, running 3rd right now.
How about that? Burchett coming down pit lane only on 28
what an
laps.
entry.
I'm not sure what
Holy smokes.
Burchett's thinking. He's pitting way too early if our board is correct, which, I mean, normally it's not wrong on that end. Normally, if it's wrong, it's going to show too many laps. So not sure what's going on there with the 33 car. Brian Burchett.
His strategy must be trying to maximize the life of the tires versus the quicker fuel stop. I can see it going both ways, and I'm not sure which one's going to work out the best in the end, but I got to assume that's what his idea is to have the newest tires on the car as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely spicing things up. You know, this has totally thrown this race on its heels because Mark Schrader was a back marker. He was in the way, rolling chicane, and now we see him sitting in the second position. And he's sitting in a good spot right now because basically everybody's on this same strategy up front.
I do have to know, we need an onboard view as Schrader learned how to shift through the corners.
Well, let's find out. Hopping into the Hutchinson Motorsports cockpit view, Mark Schrader cruising in the second spot. Down the back stretch, heading into 3. Let's see if we see a downshift. Jesse, take it away. No, sir.
Through the corner, staying in 6th gear. You gotta love the commitment, the consistency, and it's paying off for him right now, running in 2nd, and it could be helping him save a little bit of fuel. To be honest, I don't think we're going to know he's truly in contention for this race at this point if it stays green until maybe 15 or 10 laps to go. That's how varied these strategies are right now, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, you know, definitely made this race 10 times more interesting because when everybody was on the same strategy, it was just the same 2 or 3 guys we were looking at. Now we got about, 10 of them that might have an outside shot at pulling this off. Christian, how about Josh Robinson in the 30 car? He's cycled himself up to the 6th spot here as we pull back our pit strategy board.
You know, earlier we said he was riding the back, just biding his time. We've got 77 to go. Now might be the time to start creeping up. See what you could do now with this. Like I said, 77 laps to go. You got to start moving sometime, but when do you do it?
As Schrader and Lynch heading down pit lane. So Alta's still your race leader, but it's going to move Alan Wanamaker after spinning out on pit road that last caution into 2nd place.
Top 5 right now on the same strategy. Last pit on lap 91. We're going to start seeing their pit cycle as Altus comes down pit road from the lead. That's going to let Wanamaker take the lead back over if he stays out.
Aaron Hale down pit road behind Altus, so that's going to make Wanamaker, Robinson, Glass, then it's going to be Essery, then Fallenbaum find a cycle back into the 5th position.
Yeah, it looks like Essery was able to get back ahead of Fallenbaum for the first time. They're on similar strategies. Essery waited an extra 2 laps, and he was able to get ahead of the 38 there. So he's going to take over this race lead in a few laps.
Yeah, the fresher tires helped out Essery just a little, or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, they did it. Right now, he's got 2 lap fresher tires, so let's see if he can hold off Fallenbaum in that 38 car.
About a 1.5 second gap between those 2 drivers, according to my mental math.
Here comes Wanamaker, as well as Glass, the 2nd and 3rd place cars. That's going to cycle Josh Robinson in the 30 car into the race lead. You know what this is going to come down to? This is come down to when that next caution comes out. It's going to be very key. You know, if you stay out there and you're in the lead, like let's say you're Josh Robinson right now, you get a yellow right now, you are sitting pretty because everybody's going to want to come down pit road and fill it up.
Yeah, absolutely. You're looking pretty good with the exception of the few drivers that have just pit in these last few laps. But, you know, we're starting to creep up on my overbet hitting here for next caution lap.
Yep, 130 that was, and it hasn't came out yet. And you know, I've betted on under. I've already lost 1 bet tonight. And Tom Ogle in the 11 car.
You're on the opposite of a heater.
Yep, I've lost 2 bets so far. Tom Ogle actually pitting, taking his pit cycle here. He's still 1 lap down, possibly going to fall that 2nd lap. But as we see, lap 127 on the board.
Christian, I tried to warn you. I gave you multiple chances to change your pick. I knew Tom Ogle was going to be junk here at Indianapolis.
You know, I stick to my guns. You know, it might be he might be down, he might be out, but there's always next time. Yeah, let's look at the optimism. Unlike my money.
Yeah, but here comes
I think
Robinson
the
down
cash
the
out
road.
officially suspended.
No, you can cash it out. You can get 1 penny right now if you cash it.
Yep, I'm just gonna take my penny and run.
I hope a caution comes out and you don't win that bet. But we're rolling around the speedway. Eric Essery, your race leader in that 37 car, holding off Fellenbaum. About a second and a half difference between the two.
Yeah, I think the 37's in a good spot here. You know, this is
Yep.
probably the closest to a full green flag cycle of pit stops we can see. He's still got, that's a really tiny number, but it looks like he's only on like 19 laps here. So he's got another good 12 laps or so before he's going to have to come down. I think right now he's your de facto race leader.
You know,
and he's in a good spot.
Jesse, I'll ask you a question. Would you rather be Essery in your race lead, or would you rather be Kyle Bowling with about 10 or 11 laps more in his tank, sitting in the third position, 5.9 seconds out?
It's tough because track position means everything, and Bowling is 6 seconds back. And looking at my information that I have, pit stops usually only take about 5 seconds, 6 seconds in these cars. So if you save half a tank of fuel compared to these guys, your pit stop's not going to be fast enough to make up for that. So I think I like where Essery's sitting right now.
Yeah, you know, I definitely got to agree with you. The pit stops are so fast, saving fuel really isn't worth it in the long run unless you're just like 1 lap short.
If it's a close battle, it could be worth it, but right now I don't think it's close enough.
Yeah, but we continue to watch as we roll. We're here in lap 130, waiting for him to cross the start-finish line so Jesse Becker can cash in his over bet.
One more corner to go, and I'm going to double my money, so I'm rooting on that green flag to stay out, and it looks like it's going to. First bet I've hit in a very long time.
It's been a while for Jesse. Christian is on a stinker here with betting tonight.
I'm gonna need a ride home, Jesse. I needed gas, and now I don't have the money for it.
You know what Christian needs right now, Blake?
What's that?
He needs another magic NC State Wolfpack March Madness run to happen soon. He bet off of those winnings for almost an entire year, and now that's run dry. He's looking for any options he can get.
I'm sure he's probably in the negative by now, but folks, if you don't know, the gambling man is in fact Tom Ogle, and Christian's losing his money on him tonight. But folks, I'll tell you what, whenever you're down on betting and gambling, there's only one thing to do, and that's to double down on another bet. Christian, you got a chance to double your money here. So the next bet is going to be the over-under. How many cautions are we going to get the rest of the way? It's going to be 1. Do you think we're going to get 1 caution or less or more?
I'm gonna say we're gonna have more. That one's coming soon, and as I just watched a very close cut, Austin Winch there in the 26 car. But I see once that one comes, they all will come. It'll be cautious breed cautious, as Jesse said earlier, and as soon as he said it, that's what happened. So.
All right, well, I'm going to clarify, you know, the over-under is actually going to be 1.5. So, Christian, you're going to take the under of the 1.5 cautions remaining in this race, correct?
No, there's going to be more than that.
I'm sorry, over. Oh, yeah, over. I'm sorry, correction. Now, Jesse, are you willing to take Christian on that bet? Give him a shot to get his money back.
I'm absolutely doing the opposite of whatever Christian decides based off of recent results. I'm going the under here. I think this race truly has potential to stay green the rest of the way from what I'm seeing. Everybody's getting spread out here.
I agree with you. Honestly, I would probably take the under. But so Christian, he's either going to dig himself in a hole he will never get out of, or he's going to get his money back and be good to go. But we're looking through the field here. Jason Fellenbaum still 2 seconds behind Eric Essery. We're here, lap 134. We're logging the laps finally here. We've had a long green flag run. We've been green for how long about, Jesse? What do you think, 55, 60 laps?
Easy. is. I'm not even sure when the last caution was. I can try to find this out for you here.
So maybe it's been 40 to 50 laps. But
We
pulling up,
last had a yellow flag on lap 90. So
yep, so
we
45
have
laps.
knocked out some laps.
Yeah, we're knocking them down, but looking at your race leaders, they got 26 and 28 laps on that tank. So be looking for them to head down pit road here in the next 5 to 7 laps probably, if that.
Yeah, I think they're on the right strategy, Essery and Fellenbaum. I mean, Bowling, he's on a good strategy, and then of course you've got Hess in 4th place. He's on the same strategy as leaders, but I think those two guys are just too far back at this point to really, have anything happen for him. And Essery's really growing his lead on Fellenbaum now, up over 2.5 seconds. So this is Essery's race to lose, in my opinion, at this point. I mean, there's still so many laps left, but he's in an incredible spot.
Yeah, one thing I'll point out, to get to the magic number, these guys, they can go, let's call it 30 to 31, 32 laps. They need to, if they're going to just pit one more time, they'd have to make it all the way to lap 160 something. Not going to happen. So basically anybody can come down pit road right now. You're going to have to pit one time regardless. So everybody's basically on the same strategy. It's just dependent on when they're coming down pit lane. Everybody's going to have to head down 2 more times.
Absolutely.
But we're looking through here. Scott Rickard in the 05, still cruising in the 5th spot. Cautions didn't help him out. He was the car to beat, and really on no fault of his own. He just kind of cycled back there, coming down pit lane with some other guys staying out.
I think that might be dirty air affecting him, because when he was out front in domination, but now I haven't seen him on the fastest lap tracker in a while.
Definitely, it looks like Derek Offerman. Boy, it's been a good day for him. Not like a crazy day, but just a good, solid day. Offerman, he's been in the top 5, basically the top 10, basically the whole race, and that's after starting in 20th here tonight. But folks, as we're still under green, we're going to take a quick break here, Hutchinson Motorsports TV. We're going to go side by side, take a quick break, be back here in a jiffy. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to click the like button on the video. And folks, if you're feeling generous, you can head on over to our YouTube description. There's some information if you're wanting to donate and support Hutchinson Motorsports TV and you like what you see, head over there. There's a PayPal and a Venmo link. We appreciate you. We'll be back here in a jiffy. Hutchinson Motorsports TV, Indianapolis 500. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Indianapolis here for the Stars and Stripes Indy 500 here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV. We're on lap 146 as we continue these green flag stops. Jesse and Christian, what are you guys seeing?
Nothing new here, just, you know, green flag racing, different pit strategies playing out. Scott Rickard in the lead as of now, but he's still got to make another 2 stops here. As you see Eric Essery on screen there in the 37, he's only going to have 1 stop left for this race. And out of the guys that have 1 stop left, he is your front runner. So it's looking good for the 37, but still a long race to go.
Yeah, you know, during our break, Jesse was crunching some numbers, and he has found Essery and then Fellenbaum are the first 2 cars that only have to pit one more time. Christian, go ahead.
You know, this race has quickly turned into a long green flag run. It's turned into a fuel strategy race, and that's going to alter the core. Oh, we got some contact on the track. Everything's rolling. Christian Lockins was involved in that possibly, or just behind him. I could be mistaken there. But it's quickly turned into a fuel mileage race. It's going to be the strategy that wins this one.
And pulling up the pit strategy board, let's take a look. I mean, really, yeah, everybody ahead of Essery is going to have to head down pit road still 2 more times. So Essery really sitting pretty. If this thing does somehow stay green, I don't see anybody beating him. The only one that even has a shot is Fellenbaum, and he's still got a little bit of a gap between him.
Yeah, and going back to Christian mentioning contact, I did hear radio from the 94 team. Joshua Altus does not sound very happy with the 3 of Lostian. Not sure what could have happened between those 2 drivers, but that seems to be what happened.
Yeah, you know, looks like the contact did bring the 3 down pit road. You know, Lostian knows he does have to pit twice regardless, so he probably had a little bit of damage. He's going to head down pit road, maybe use that fast repair, fill it up, and get going. The new race leader, Brian Lynch, after being on his lid earlier. Christian, what do you think about Brian Lynch leading this race in that Hooters 24 machine?
Brings me back to good old memories of Dale Earnhardt. You know, he rolled that car over, got back in it, kept racing. But this is a little different. Brian Lynch bringing it all the way back to the front of the field. We're going to see how his strategy plays out and if he can capitalize on anything here.
And Jesse, what have you been seeing out of the 13 car of Alan Wanamaker here as he's cruising in the 2nd spot?
Yeah, the Winston-Salem, North Carolina native in the 13 there. He's been popping in and out of the top 5 here with the different pit strategies, running 2nd right now to Brian Lynch. He's had a pretty consistent race out of the 13. I'm not exactly sure where he's going to end up on the strategy, but I can say it's definitely not been a bad race for the 13 tonight.
Then in the 3rd position, we got Dylan Grimm. It's been a great race for him. He's basically the leader on his pit strategy. But as Jesse mentioned, Fellenbaum and Essery are just on a better strategy. So we're going to see where Grimm cycles out after these pit cycles go, if we can stay green here heading into lap 151.
It'll be interesting to see if Grimm can back up last year's win. It's not looking like it, in my opinion, right now, but things can definitely change. We're only 3/4 through this race right now.
As we look at the board now, Christian, what are you thinking? We know there is some tire fall off, so maybe some of these guys, they might want to head down pit lane, you know, as soon as they hit that 30, let's call it what, 32. It's like they're getting 32 to 34 laps most of these runs. So let's say you got 33 laps left. I think I'm heading down pit lane, gonna get the fresh tires, see if I can maybe make some ground up.
I think that might be a good move. It just depends on how far you're back. If you're in the top 10, yes, get the tires, do what you got to do. But I think if you're 15 or back, there is a little bit of a gray area there, though. But if you're 15 or back, you got to just hope for that caution that might not be coming at this point because, you know, I betted on it. We know how my luck's been tonight.
Boy, it's been a rough night for you, and you just, you know, and honestly, you just fell for the trap. Whenever you're down and betting, Christian, you're not supposed to double down. But you just kept doing it over and over, and then that's when you end up in a tight spot.
You know, you got to recoup your money somehow. And, you know, I just got to say, my wife is very unhappy with me. Dan Tay in the chat, that's Danielle. She shout out to her. Puts up with me, but we're gonna have a long conversation tonight. And quite frankly, Jesse, I might need to borrow that extra bedroom you got, buddy.
Yeah, Danielle is the logical one here in the relationship. You're losing all the money with these bets, but she said the most sensible thing I've heard all night in the chat, saying don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Hutchinson Motorsports TV. It's the best streaming service in the business. And you go to Netflix, Hulu, all that stuff, that subscribe button, it's going to cost you money. Here on YouTube, that thing is free. You can press it. Not a dime will come out of your pocket, and it helps support us. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not.
Boy, that's definitely true. I was talking to Danielle the other night, and she was watching a race from about a year and a half ago here on Hutchinson Motorsports TV. She was telling me how great it is. This library, it's just the largest racing library in the world. 100% confirmed fact.
You can watch tons of races on there. I mean, you've been broadcasting for a good couple of years now. We have everything from ARCA cars, Xfinity cars, trucks, Cup cars, now branching out the Indy car. You can go way back. You can even find, Blake's origin story. You can find some dirt car racing on here, I'm sure. So whatever you're interested in, we got it.
Most definitely. And the other day I was bored. I flipped through one of my first broadcasts, and boy, have we came a long way. I'm not going to lie. I jumped in here. I had no clue what I was doing, all on my own, really just winged the whole thing. It was kind of terrible, but it ended up working out because here we are today as the world's #1 streaming service.
Blake, I got a funny, real quick story. You haven't even heard this yet. I was Googling something earlier today. I can't remember what exactly the question was, but when you Google something, if you word it right, usually that first result's going to be a Reddit post of somebody asking the same question. And I found you on Reddit from like 2 years ago trying to figure out something when it came to broadcasting. So I thought that was pretty funny that you were the top search result for my question from 2 years ago.
That's kind of crazy because I am really not much of a Redditor. I don't really ever post on there. They kind of get on my nerves. That was probably my last post on Reddit.
It was from 2 years ago. That was back in the 5150 dirt days. I remember it saying something about how you're searching to expand your broadcasting horizons, and you definitely have. It's come a long way.
Most definitely, but we're looking good as guys continue to cycle through the field. Christian, what are you seeing here on the pit strategy board?
Well, I'm seeing Dylan Glass coming in from the lead and taking his pit cycle. He should have one more to go. Robinson, we've talked about him a lot tonight, about persevering, making the long run work. He's doing that right now. He's got a pit again, so.
Now, Jesse, we might have missed something. I'm seeing Andrew Hess there on the same strategy ahead of Felon. What happened to Essery? Essery has given up 2 spots, it looks like.
I can't find too much info on that, what has made Essery fall behind Fellenbaum and Hess. I'm very surprised by that. I might have to do some digging here and see if I can
You know
find
what, Jesse?
some info
I'm going to
on that.
save you some time because Hutchinson Motorsports TV, we do it all. So take a look at this. Here's some lap times here. Let's take a look here, Essery. See where he's losing laps. So you see lap 152, he lost 2 seconds there to Fellenbaum and Bowling on both. And then on lap 153, he lost 1.8 seconds. So he had 2 laps where he lost about 2 seconds in both of them. So not sure what happened. He must have gotten to the wall or something there on lap 152.
I'm checking on that for you now, and as soon as I can find what happened, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Essery, this looked like his race to win, and then out of nowhere, now we see Andrew Hess. He's the favorite to win it, but yeah, I mean, he's got about a half a second lead on Fellenbaum. So, I mean, Tom Ogle, he told us Andrew Hess was going to be there at the end. I honestly thought he was full of it. I thought he was just, patting his teammate on the back, just being, just full of BS. But now here we are. Andrew Hess, he's got to be the favorite to win it right now in that 54 car. But we
How
pull
long
up.
is Robinson?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how long is Robinson going to stay out? I think we were going the same direction there with our calls, pitch strategy.
It's what's
on the board.
Tough for Robinson. If he can somehow, he's getting close to being able to pitch just one more time. if he can somehow get to what's he needs about 4 more laps. If he can get to 164, I mean, he'd have a shot at being able to make it by saving fuel and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Robinson can stretch this tank out a little bit, but I don't know. It's going to be tight for him.
You're watching that 54 Hess there. Just look at that time. It's ticking down just about as fast as a clock does.
And yeah, you can tell Robinson is saving fuel, you know, and that's one thing I always say about Josh Robinson. Week to week, you know, starting the race off, he's not always the fastest guy at the start, but he's always on the best strategy by the end of the race. But I'm not sure how the fuel saving is going to work here in the IndyCar, as the fall off is humongous right now.
You know, we've actually seen this before. I mean, there's 40 to go. If he could make this stretch a little bit, this could be his last stop. Whereas it looks like the rest of the field might have to make one more. This could be the winning move of the race if it works out.
It might be. You see his last pit run, he went 36 laps. I mean, if he does that back-to-back times, he's definitely going to be good. Just the key is, though, he needs to be able to do it where he doesn't have to limp around the track like he is right now, because he's losing like 2 seconds a lap right now, as Hess might just pass him out right here before he even has to pit.
His last lap was a 44.866. That might be the slowest time I've seen on the board without an issue.
Yeah, you know, I don't think and here comes Robinson down pit lane. So I don't think he's going to make it. He's going to need to go 38 laps, and that'd be the highest of the whole race. So, I mean, Robinson, he tried to limp his way into one stop, and it just didn't work, and he ended up losing a bunch of time. So he's going to need a caution for sure.
I'll interject here. I have information on Essery around lap 151, 152. Not really a clear explanation as to why, but he was passed by both Fellenbaum and Hess. He was going, for some reason, about 200 miles an hour down the straight, while the other ones were going roughly 20 to 30 miles an hour faster. Unsure why, if he was trying to save fuel for some reason, but that's what happened.
Yeah, not sure what happened as Hess becomes your race leader. But, you know, Fellenbaum, we've been saying for the last, 70 laps, he's in a good spot. And I'm really liking his chances. I think Fellenbaum's got a little bit of a faster car than Hess, but I could be wrong.
We'll see if he's able to cut that interval down. It's about 0.6 of a second now, running very similar laps, although Fellenbaum was about 0.4 quicker the previous lap. We'll see if he can keep making gains here on the 54.
Now, the real question is, we know these guys, they all just have to pit one more time. It is when you come down pit lane. They could come right now, well, I'd say in a lap or two, and be good on fuel, but the good thing, if you do that, you're going to gain some ground right now on the tires, but by the end of the race, your tires are going to be cooked. So, Jesse, if you're out there, are you going to cut this into half, head down there, or what are you thinking if you're one of the top 2 cars?
Yeah, I think at this point, these guys Hess last pit on lap 140, so if he cuts it in half, he'll be pitting about lap 170, which will put him good on fuel to the end. Fellenbaum and Essery have been out just a little bit longer, only 3 laps longer, but they're going to have to wait just a little bit more on these tires to get that fuel window. So Hess is looking in a really good spot as far as tire wear goes with his last stop coming up.
Yeah, you know, if you're the race leader right now, you're actually gaining some ground at the moment, as they're struggling to get through some lap traffic. But you definitely cut this in half if you're the race leader. But then once you get to second and third positions here, then that's when you start thinking, maybe I'm going to try something different. Maybe I'll come down, 5 laps earlier, try the fresh tire, see if I can make up some of that ground.
All sorts of different ways you can play it. So many cards on the table, we just don't know what the winning hand is going to be, because there's so many players in this race right now. Hess, Fellenbaum, Essery. I'd say even Bowling in a chance to get a win here if they play their cards right.
Most definitely. Now, Christian, what are you seeing through the field right now as we're rolling into lap 167 here shortly?
I noticed on a wide shot there as the leaders were passing Greg Hammond, he kind of got a little squirrely on exit. That shows me that he might be struggling a little bit on those tires. I'm not sure where he's at on the strategy, but going forward, are we going to see more of these cars getting loose as they're going to start pushing a little bit harder with 35 to go?
Yeah, definitely a possibility, Jesse, don't you think, here as Andrew Hess continues to lead this race? He's got a 1.5-second gap between him and the second place car of Jason Fellenbaum.
A 1.5-second gap is definitely feeling good for Hess right now. You know, I definitely thought Essery was in the best position, 20, 30 laps ago. I'm unsure what the reasoning is that Hess and Fellenbaum got by him, but Hess is in the driver's seat right now, literally and figuratively. I think he gets this last stop, doesn't speed on pit road, nails his entry to his pit box. He's looking good.
I'm not going to lie. I've been doing this league for 2 full seasons now, and I've never had an interview with Andrew Hess, never got a chance to ask him about his wieners. But if he could pull off the win, we would finally have the opportunity to ask Andrew Hess about his wieners on Instagram.
That would be an incredible groundbreaking moment for Hutchinson Motorsports TV to find out info on those wieners.
Definitely. And then Christian, don't you think the difference might have been, like Tom Ogle said, it was all about the weight jacker down pit road? They figured something out. Andrew Hess got it done with the weight jackers.
I think so. Understanding the car is your first step to success. Andrew Hess definitely understands this car. He might feel at home in it. And obviously the results are on the board. We see in this domination of a lead right now. We're going to see how it plays off through this last set of pit cycles.
As we have a battle here, Kyle Bowling. Well, that's a lap car, so never mind. Oh, we got one sideways. Are we going to get the caution? Not sure that is.
He's rolling.
It's Kyle
What
Bowling.
a save out of Bowling.
Man, I tell you what, I have a 6th sense. Just anytime I switch over to somebody, they wreck. It's like I just know what's going to happen. But what a save there by Bowling. That was almost a heartbreaker caution for these guys out front.
That would have changed everything, but we stay green, and unfortunately, I stay broke.
Yes, sir. And then and here comes Essery down pit road. Great call by Essery. Like I mentioned, Jesse, if you were in 2nd or 3rd there, you had to do something different. Come down a little bit early. Maybe you can gain a second or 2 on the fresher tires and maybe be able to hold them off at the end.
Yeah, Essery's best friend here whenever he gets done with his pit stop. He's hoping to exit pit road, get on the backstretch, and he wants to see a drafting partner in front of him.
Yeah. And then, if I'm Andrew Hess, I'm coming down right now. If you stay out there a couple laps, you're going to cycle out and give up that race lead to Eric Essery, and you don't want to do that. So if I'm in that 54, I head down pit road right now, and he's going to stay out there.
I'm just seeing his last lap times. He's still one of the quicker cars on the lead lap.
Fellenbaum down pit road, but honestly, it was a pretty bad entry, not going to lie. And he might have just sped a little bit. It seemed like he locked it up at the end. Pretty slow entry for Fellenbaum. My bet is he's probably lost some ground heading into pit road.
Lots of cars coming down for their last stop. We're officially in the final pit window by a good couple of laps to spare. You're going to see most of all the cars coming down. Again, Hess staying out so far. We'll see how long he waits to come down pit road.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're saying his times are fine. Okay, good call there. Because honestly, if he stayed out another lap, he was going to give up the lead for sure. And honestly, it's not a given he's going to come out here as a race leader, as he only had about a 1.5 second, 2 second lead. So if he gets a good stop, he should be able to exit pit road, still be the race leader. But I tell you what, the 37 car of Essery is going to be right there with him.
Did I miss something now? I'm seeing Josh Robinson. Wasn't we just talking about him in the lead and pit strategy not too long ago?
Oh, yeah. He's down pit road here again.
7 laps down.
He might have had a connection issue. I remember he had a connection issue in our championship race. I wonder if that might have happened again. Who knows?
That's unfortunate. He might have. It would have been interesting to see if his pit strategy was going to work.
Yeah, most definitely. But looking through the field here, where's he at? I'm looking for Fellenbaum. And just like I imagined, he lost a lot of ground there. His entry on pit road was just really slow. It seemed like he lifted about 10 car lengths too early. Just gave up a lot of ground. And right now, he is 5 seconds behind Eric Essery. And look at Andrew Hess. He's 5 seconds ahead of Essery. So Andrew Hess, if this thing stays green, this race is over, folks. What a great pit stop by that 54 car of Hess.
Bringing it back to the 30 car of Robinson. Looked into it. Doesn't look to be a visible connection issue for the 30 car. He just comes down pit lane and just left it parked from what I could see.
Well, he must have known, he tried to stretch out that pit stop to make it a one-stop thing for him and just didn't work out. And he probably knew if he had to pit again, he was going to probably come home with about a 20-plus place finish. Might have just called it a night.
Looks like that the situation to me is, as Derek Offerman in the lead right now, he's still got another stop to make. In fact, pretty much everybody all the way in your top 10 making their final pit stops here soon. Again, Hess, the fastest, or the car that has made his final pit stop that's the farthest ahead. He's sitting in 10th.
Yep, and it's hard to see, but you see that little blue dot. That means Hess has pit here in the last couple laps. So he is the first car, good to go on fuel. The 9 cars in front of him all need to pit. The math doesn't work out for him. So some of these guys, if I'm one of these cars out front that has to pit, you're just going to stay out there till the very last second and hope for a caution.
Yeah, you could have a caution bail you out here. That's pretty much the only hope for a lot of these guys that are in the front. As I'm getting info that the 7 of McCoy coming down this time. I'm sure Offerman, Rickard, Bowling, Grimm, Lynch, all these guys up here in the front, not far behind as we're hitting our final pit stops of the night. And I just want to ask you, Blake, 176 of 200 here. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up. How are you feeling right now during the longest Hutchinson Motorsports TV event so far?
Oh, I'm feeling great, Jesse. I could do this. I feel like I could probably do the 24 hours of Le Mans all by myself.
That I call BS, but if that's what you think, we might have you do that one day. We got a 24 hours of Daytona race coming up February. Might have you be the lead broadcaster.
Hey, we'll see how it plays out as Offerman and McCoy and Bowling all on pit lane leaving, and here comes Rickard.
Cycle is starting to complete. We've still got 6 guys out there that haven't pit yet. Grimm, one of those drivers, he takes over the lead. Doesn't look like he's going to have a repeat this year. Still a good race for the 23, just the strategy didn't really work out for him at the end.
Yeah, when I saw Grimm get around Rickard, I knew that was good news for him, but he was just on the wrong strategy, unfortunately for him. Probably the best car out there, honestly. If we had to rack them all up right now, Dylan Grimm might be the favorite to win it, but that's just not how it's going to work out here with the pit stops tonight.
Yeah, Hess is in the driver's seat. He's made his way back up to 6th with these pit stops. The gap to Essery, I'm not exactly sure what that is right now, but it looks like it's a pretty big one.
It's about 5.5 seconds right now between Hess and Essery.
Well, he's got to have that thing on cruise control at this point.
Yep, you just stay out of the wall. You hope it stays green, and you're going to park this thing in victory lane, and you're going to get to tell all the great fans at Hutchinson Motorsports TV about your wieners.
They drink milk when they win this race. Do you think he's going to keep the tradition alive and drink the Indianapolis milk?
He better. It would be a huge disappointment if he didn't.
We've spoken a lot about Dylan Grimm winning last year's race. Andrew Hess, he's been in victory lane before in the Stars and Stripes Indy 500, won in 2023. So only 2 years ago, he was drinking the milk and kissing the bricks. He's looking to do it again here tonight, and he's got a really, really good chance to.
Yep, as we just have 21 laps to go this time around. Indianapolis 500 here with the Stars and Stripes series on Hutchinson Motorsports TV. Dylan Grimm currently a race leader, but it's eventually going to be Andrew Hess, who's the first car that doesn't need to pit.
Yeah, he's got this thing locked up for sure if it stays green.
In the chat, we got Boone Lubschow rooting for Lawson. Christian Lawson. Was a good race for Lawson, but the pit cycles just didn't work out for him. He had a top 5 car the whole night, and then these pit cycles got mixed up. Right now, shuffled back to 10th.
Yeah, the pit cycle does finish. He'll be looking like a top 5 for him. He's 5th out of the cars that have made their final stop, so he's still in a good spot. Actually, just got booted He's now 6th out of the cars that have made their final stop. So it looks like he's battling pretty hard there with Kyle McCoy. So we'll see if he's able to get that spot back.
And looking back here, Bryce Barfield in the 45. Boy, not a day to remember here for that car as he's sitting in the 17th position. Christian, what have you been seeing out of that slow 45 car, Bryce Barfield?
Well, he is the last car on the lead lap, and I'm not sure where he's at on this pit cycle, but I haven't really been seeing much of him at all since earlier in this race. This long run seems to be hurting him pretty well. So we're going to see if we get that caution that might shake things up, but until then, I don't foresee him doing much more.
And here comes your race leader, finally, Dylan Grimm down pit road, going to give it up. Brian Lynch in the 24, going to take it back over here as he still needs to pit.
You got to love a good fast repair Lynch earlier on in the race. Only car so far tonight, I believe, to end up flipped over, but he's got that thing in the lead right now. Fast repair bailed him out, and he's looking pretty good out there. Again, just not the right strategy. A yellow could fly right now and put him in a good spot, but I don't see it happening.
You know, if the yellow comes out, it's going to make things interesting. You know, like the guys out front, like if you're Hess, I mean, you still only got, let's say, 7 laps or so on your tank, maybe up to 10 at most. So, I mean, you're not going to pit. Neither is Rickard. I mean, basically, most of the field's not going to pit. So, I mean, these guys are still going to have to go to the back if a yellow does come out.
Yeah, you begin to weigh in your head if the tires are worth it or not, and I think I agree with you. You know, if you're out front here now, and you've already made that last stop, it might be worth staying out.
Yep, and we'll see how it comes out here at the end. You know, if it's a green-white checkered at the finish, and some of these guys have 30 laps on, they might have to come down pit lane as well. So, but by then, you know, these guys are gonna have to pit either way. So, really, barring a miracle, Lynch, Wanamaker, Glass, they're basically toast. They're gonna hope to stay on the lead lap after they come down pit lane.
You know, we haven't touched on it in a good amount of laps here. Blake, who is your contender right now for the Hutchinson Motorsports battle for last?
Well, that's in an interesting battle here because we got Trey Jackson right now. I'm seeing, you know, Altus just came off pit road. He's in the battle. Behind him, Burchett, you know, he hasn't had any issues. Ogle junked it earlier. I'm not going to include Tom Ogle, even though he's about to pass Brian Burchett. Hammond has also had some issues, I believe. So I don't know. I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say Brian Burchett in the 33 car. He's holding up the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for Last Award, sitting in the 19th position.
Incredible for Burchett. You know, he was running second there at one point during the pit cycles, and it was the first time we touched on his name all night. Sure, he doesn't wish the second time was for the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for last, but TV time is TV time, and you take it how you can get it.
Most definitely, you know, it's an award we really enjoy giving here because it's not always about the guys leading the race. You know, that's no fun. Sometimes you got to highlight those guys in the back, duking it out. Sometimes that's the hardest racing on the track. Am I right, Christian?
Absolutely. Battle for last. You always, it ain't the battle you want to be in, but, you know, if I'm going to win something, if I can't win the race, I'm going to win the Hutchinson Motorsports Battle for last for sure.
Congratulations, Christian. That is a great outlook to have on it as Alan Wanamaker going to take over the race lead as we pull up the pit strategy board. He's got 36 I'm seeing laps on that tank of gas. So he's going to be probably heading down this time or next time.
Yeah, the most he can make it is maybe 2 more laps.
He might want to make it to the finish, but he's going to have to He's going to have to pit first.
Well, what an interesting race. You know, our last caution was what, on lap 90, I believe we found out. This was a caution-filled race, and then we get before the halfway point, and we get a potentially 110 lap run to finish this race.
It's been 96 laps green so far, and it's been, you know, pretty clean racing. There's still some people scraping the wall every once in a while, but they're no longer scraping the wall and then becoming a homing missile on the inside wall. You know, they're keeping it straight. The only scare has really been, I believe, I can't remember if that was Kyle McCoy or who it was. I don't know who it was, but We did have that one slide, and they were able to save it. But that was bowling. My apologies. But that's been pretty much the only, worrisome moment we've had in probably the last 80 laps.
Most definitely. And, the cycles have kind of worked out here. We got Scott Rickard in second, Derek Offerman in third, and then Eric Essery. We thought this was his race to win. He's dropped back to fourth. Not sure what's going on with that 37 car, Eric Essery.
I thought he was in a really good spot. I would be interested to know what happened to cause him to lose those spots to Hess and Offerman, but it could be Fellenbaum, sorry. But it looks like he's got ahead of Fellenbaum now, but still not sure what led to him losing the lead, but he had a good run tonight.
As we pull up some lap times here, I think Rickard, let me confirm, yep. I thought so. Rickard is the faster car on the track, but he's just simply not going to make up the 5 seconds between him and the race leader.
Nope.
If I'm Andrew Hess, I have it on cruise control right now.
Yep, keep it out of the wall, and you're going to be drinking milk there on the Brickyard.
If I disappear here, Windows is trying to update my computer as we're in action. I'm trying to stop it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Christian, just admit it. You're wanting to take a break like somebody else in here, aren't you?
Nope, I am trying to stop it. I am not a quitter. I don't take vacations.
I'll tell you one thing.
Like
I'll tell you one thing about Christian Taylor. He is a very stubborn man. He basically crew chiefed an entire Daytona 24. No one asked him to. He stayed around longer than some of the drivers on our team, and he was a really key piece to us in that race. So he's got the endurance to stay up for this thing. He's just going to hate waking up tomorrow.
That's going to be the truth. It's 6:30 alarm comes real early. I got to be at work at 7:30. My boss going to be shaking his head. You stayed up all night playing video games and didn't miss the boy. I'm going to be like, no, sir. I was on the best streaming service in the nation watching the Stars and Stripe Indy 500.
Boy, I tell you what, if you tell your boss that, he'll probably just give you the day off. I'm sure he will understand.
Oh, yeah. And we hit the Hutchinson Motorsports 10 to go.
10 to go, Jesse. Take the realm here with Hutchinson Motorsports. 10 to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hess has this thing on lock right now from the lead, Andrew Hess. Looking really good up there, as Blake mentioned. Scott Rickard is a little bit faster, but over 5 seconds of a gap is a lot to make up in 10 laps, and I don't see it happening. There's several cars in this field that have been fast all night that are still on the lead lap that are really, really hoping that there's a stray hair and a caution flag does come out. They don't want to be the caution, but if it was to fly, it could save their race.
And one thing I'm going to add, Dylan Grimm here on lap 191 just put down the fastest lap of a session here, a 40.79.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a for Dylan Grimm there.
Yeah, boy, that thing's... I tell you what, if there is a caution, keep an eye on that 23 car. He is the fastest car on the track. It's not even close. He is putting down scorchers right now. He's like a second faster than the leader.
Yeah, I don't know what gotten into the 23. I am seeing that. His 40.79 followed up by a 40.85. The 23 is absolutely flying right now. Just got past my pick for the win there of Andrew Medlin taking that 8th spot. He's certainly wishing that he could have had this speed and been up there, leading this thing.
Yeah, he has had the speed all night long, just on the wrong cycle, and Rickard just did a great job on that last pit stop. Grimm was ahead of him, and then Rickard somehow cycled his way around, and he's up to second here.
Yeah, good stuff out of the 0-5. I'm sure he's wishing he could, rewind and go back to when he was leading and dominating the first part of this race, but it just wasn't meant to be for the 0-5. 7 laps to go. If a caution flies and they get grouped back up, if I'm Andrew Hess, I'm shaking in my boots, because Rickard, as we mentioned, was leading a lot of the laps early on, but again, just too far back at this point.
Yeah, the only good news there for Hess, if let's say there is a caution late, we do got the single file starts and you get to start at any time. So you basically guarantee yourself to hold that race lead for at least one lap.
Yeah, the draft is serious, though. He might jump out to a good lead, but if the second place car was able to stick with him through turns 1 and 2 and be right behind him on the backstretch, you're pretty much a sitting duck. So that's the last thing Hess wants to see is a yellow flag fly right now.
Let's see, Christian is where. Yep, go ahead, Christian, is we're on the right front suspension cam of your race leader, Andrew Hess.
Andrew Hess is praying that caution don't come out. Scott Ricker might be praying for it, but I am financially needing this caution to come out. I placed 2 bets that's already lost. I got to have 2 cautions back to back to win any money back. And right now, I don't even have a cash out option. It's closed, and I might be in trouble, boys.
Yeah, rough day for you here as we watch Andrew Hess head down the backstretch. We'll take a moment, look at this view here. On the right front, you're going to see where I sat in the Indy 500 this year. It's going to be right there. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Wait, right there, actually. So that's where I sat here at the Indy 500. What a great race to go to. Not going to lie, I'm glad I went, but it's probably going to be a one and done deal. Fun time, but just a lot of single file action. I'd probably rather head somewhere else new next year.
I was going to ask what you thought about the Indy 500 experience. I mean, it's not like you were planning the trip for months, super excited about it. It kind of just fell into your lap. How would you say overall it is going to it in real life?
Yeah, once again, there's over 300,000 people there, as you know, is a sold-out crowd. The infield had over 100K, and the grandstands had about 200K. So you're jam-packed in there. There's a lot going on, high energy. Just the only bad thing leaving is a nightmare. We hung around the track for about 2 hours before we even went to our car. Then we went to the car, and we sat there for another 2 to 2.5 hours. It took us basically 4 hours to get out of that place.
Good Lord, I could not imagine. That's crazy.
Yeah, most definitely. But again, I definitely recommend it to everybody. Go once. It's definitely fun to go to. I'm not saying I'll never go again, but it's definitely not something I want to, mark off every single year, as there's a lot of other tracks and races I'd rather go to try out.
3 laps to go on track.
Yep, 3 to go here. We're on the Hutchinson Motorsports nose cam, Andrew Hess. We got a GoPro duct tape to the front nose there of that 54 car, Andrew Hess, as he rips it down the front stretch. 2 laps left to go.
Yeah, Hess has this thing on lock. No changes really in your top 3. Christian Loshman's made his way into 4th. He got by Kyle McCoy about a lap ago. And there's been Dylan Grimm steadily moving up. He made 3 passes in 4 laps, all the way from P9 to P6, where he's sitting.
Yeah, what I'm looking at, he's going to get up to at least 5th, probably, maybe have a shot at 4th if Dylan Grimm keeps the speed up he's got. But here comes your race leader.
Going for the 23.
Race leader coming out of turn 4. We're going to watch the white flag waving in the air as here comes Andrew Hess. 1 lap left to go in Indianapolis. No caution happening here.
4 more corners to go for Hess to capture his 2nd Stars and Stripes Indy 500. Don't mess up now is all I can say.
Christian, what are you thinking of how this worked out for Andrew Hess?
Pit strategy, it came down to it. We never thought we'd see a run this long. As he's going down the backstretch through turn 3, he's going to take that short stretch between 3 and 4. Take turn 4, hopefully keep his head down, and Blake, I hand it back to you.
Coming out of turn 4 in front of a sold-out crowd, Andrew Hess. Ask him about his winners. The 54, Andrew Hess, wins it in Indianapolis.
Great race from Hess. Rickard gonna lock down P2. Offerman finishes in 3rd with Loshton and McCoy rounding out your top 5 here tonight.
Boy, what a finish. This looked like a caution fest early on. We had, 6, 7 cautions in the first 90 laps. I thought we were going to break 20 there for a while. Then out of nowhere, we go green on lap number 90, and we finish out 110 green flag laps, throw the checkered flag, and Andrew Hess gets to drink some milk there on the front stretch.
Yeah, 7 cautions in the first 90 laps, and then the final 110 had absolutely none of those. Hess had the perfect strategy, and he's going to get to celebrate here, burn down those rear tires. Just don't do it over the bricks. I've heard that they disapprove.
You know, Jesse, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm out there, I'm doing the damn burnout. I'm probably going down the whole brick path. I'm gonna hit every brick on there.
They might have to take you out of the place on a stretcher.
Well, let's watch them burn it down here. Let's try to find a good view. Let's hop up. Oh, you might just park it. He's going to do the noble thing and just park. Oh, no, there it is. He's going to do some burnouts on the bricks. He doesn't care,
right,
Andrew is. That's what we're talking about. Burning it down. Screw the traditions. These bricks are junk.
Oh man, the fans in the front row might be getting little brick particles thrown into their eyes, but it's worth it to see Hess burn it down, capturing his second Stars and Stripes Indy 500 win.
Christian, what are your thoughts as these fans are booing Andrew Hess after burning it down on the bricks?
You know, I am a very, I respect traditions, and to see those bricks defaced like that, it just, I can't take it. Jesse,
You know
please.
what, Christian, you're going to have a
It's
chance
okay,
to talk
buddy.
to the man himself. We're going to pull him in here. Tonight's champion, Andrew Hess. Let's get him in here. Andrew, Blake, Jesse, and Christian in the booth. You got us.
Yes, sir, I do.
What a run. You pulled it off. The pit strategy helped you out, but you also had the speed. You park it in victory lane. Did you think you had a shot heading into it?
Yeah, I've won it before, so I kind of knew what I needed to do. And talking with the guys, we kind of worked up a fuel strategy just to kind of save and lay back early in the race. And once we were able to flip the track position, we just stuck to the schedule, and it really paid out once we got in clean air.
Jesse, go ahead.
My only question, well, I have a two-parter here. I want to know how early on in that final 110 lap green flag run did you know that everything was going to plan and you had a good chance at winning this thing? And if you have any insight, you know, up in the booth, we thought that Eric Essery had a really good shot and he was in the best position, and all of a sudden you and Fellenbaum were both by him. Do you have any insight on what happened there?
Yeah, so well, two things. So the first part of your question, actually, we had it planned all the way backed up to, I think, 77 was that one caution. So we had the fuel strategy all planned out from there. So once we were able to save enough to get sequenced out, it just was able to turn it up those last two runs. And then Eric said after the race, apparently he didn't know you could adjust the fuel setting in these cars until the final run. So that probably didn't help him. He was full rich for a while.
Oh man, that's brutal. Christian, you got anything for Andrew here?
Well, you know, traditional Indy 500, you don't do a burnout across the bricks. I don't think you gave any care about that in the world tonight after your win, did you?
I mean, not to toot the old horn, but I got a few victories here for the 500. So I think that's where I'm going to park it.
Alrighty, and then the second question, are we going whole milk tonight or 2%, or what do you got queued up?
I think I have a little 2%, and then I'm going to finish it up a little bourbon, I think.
Oh, there you go. And I think Blake has
Party.
one important question to ask you,
Now-
Mr. Hess.
Andrew, we've been waiting to ask you this for a while. We finally have the opportunity. You park it in victory lane. You just won probably the biggest race of the year, the Stars and Stripes Indy 500. It's time to ask you. We're going to ask you about your wieners here on Instagram. Let us know.
Awesome. It's nice that you guys saw that. Yeah, so the reason I have that is we have 3 little dachshunds, and my wife has a little Instagram account for them. It's Moki _ marshmallow _ and _ marabou. If you want a spelling, I can type it out for you. But their little life adventures are shown on there, so feel free and ask me all you want about my wiener.
All
If
right,
my
well,
wife is watching, she is flying right there, right now. I promise you that, Mr. Hess.
well, Andrew, I will
we looked
say,
before.
I think Jesse's a little bit disappointed. He was hoping for something else, but congratulations on the win here tonight. Parking in victory lane. Before you head out, you got any shout outs or any comments to add for these great fans at home that stayed up tonight?
Well, I appreciate everything you do, Blake. You do a great job. And I was told to say, since I won, that the only reason Alex didn't have a good luck is because he's Italian, and we all know I hate Italians.
That's definitely what we thought that happened up here in the booth. All right, well, congratulations, Andrew. You still got a little bit of time to celebrate. It's only about 11:15, so the night's still young for you. You just won the biggest race of the year. We're going to send you back to your team. Great job.
Thanks, bud.
Congratulations.
Andrew has heading out as a winner here. You heard it from him. He's won this race before. He doesn't care about tradition. He did a burnout right on the Brickyard, and to me, it sounds like that wasn't the first one he's done. So Christian might be a tradition guy. Andrew Hess doesn't care. All he cares about is winning the Indianapolis 500 and his wieners on Instagram. Before we sign out, Jesse and Christian, you got anything?
I just want to say, congrats to Andrew once again, going 2023. Couldn't get it last year, but backing it up with another win this year. Incredible work from the 54. I was really surprised to hear him say that they had it planned out all the way from lap 77. That last caution on lap 90. I don't know how you can plan that one out, but it did work out good for the 54, and he had the best strategy, and, well, he might not have had the best car, but strategy paid off at the end.
Christian, go ahead.
Yes, sir. This turned out to be a long stretch. I lost a lot of money tonight on my bets. Tom Ogle, he junked it halfway through. When we had that second chance bet, we said 130 over or under. It never came. That was way over. And then, of course, we said there'd be 2 more cautions. That didn't happen either. A clean run. All these drivers drove their heart out. It was a great show. Happy to be on Hutchinson Motorsports TV to witness it and call it here with Blake and Jesse. I appreciate the opportunity, Blake. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Christian did a great job. Jesse as well. Folks, we appreciate you tuning in, sticking around for this long one. We've been on air for what, 3.5? I don't know, 3+ hours, definitely over 3. It's been a long one, but we're finally done, folks. Next race on the network, gonna be, I believe, it's gonna be Wednesday night, the Superstar Arca East Series. We're gonna be back on air, and then the Stars and Stripes Series. We're gonna go on a short off-season break and be back next season. So we'll have some info on you in the future. But as always, we appreciate you coming out. Be sure, please click that like button, subscribe to the page. It's all free. You can do it just in a minute. Oh, hell, honestly, it takes about 2 seconds. So do all that. We appreciate you coming out. Signing off for Christian Taylor, Jesse Becker, Blake Hutchinson up here in the booth.